Wondery Plus subscribers can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free right now. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Hey, everybody, before we get started with the show, we have a big announcement for you guys. The Shut Up and Give Me Murder Tour is coming to you. Small Town Murder live shows. These are live podcasts just like you like to listen to, like we do from the studio, but live with you there. Right in front of you. Going to be so much fun here. April 5th, Los Angeles, California. April 7th, San Diego, California. April 14th, San Francisco, California. April 15th, Sacramento, California. April 20th, 420 in Portland, Oregon.
Oh, boy.
That's going to be insane. April 22nd, Seattle, Washington. April 26th, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. April 27th, Chicago, Illinois. New York City at the Highline Ballroom on April the 29th. And then rounding it out with Nashville, Tennessee.
You betcha.
May 2nd at Zanies. That's during CrimeCon, so get your butts out there. Get all your tickets and all the information over at shutupandgivememurder.com/live. Tickets will go on sale February the 16th for all these shows. Also, don't forget March 25th in Phoenix at Stand Up Live. All the links are in the show description. Come out, tell us to shut up and give you murder. Welcome to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed. Yay indeed. Thank you, folks, so much for joining us today on this wild, crazy, special, insane, I don't know, I ran out of words, episode of Crime and Sports.
This is interesting.
I want it to be like like the old cartoon introduction, you know, on this wild. I want it to be like that. I just don't have that in me. Thank you, folks, so much for joining us today. Like we said, if we sound a little different today, we are experimenting with the new studio, and so we're experimenting.
That's what it is.
Whatever it is, the next show you hear will sound 100 times better, we guarantee, because this is like, oh, we need to do this and that and adjust that thing, and I'm not a sound technician, so
You're not?
It's amazing,
Surprised.
right? You'd be surprised. I do a lot on this show, but that I suck at, and I've been doing it anyway. So let's see how it goes here. But that's all right. Thank you, folks, again for joining us. Thank you this week for your iTunes reviews.
Holy shit.
My God, were they huge this week, these iTunes reviews. Thank you. We cannot thank you enough. Honestly, if you have not done it yet, please go to iTunes. Give us 5 stars. Doesn't matter what you say. Tell us you're following instructions, following directions. It doesn't matter. It's not for our ego.
It's not.
It really isn't. It's for iTunes and their funky algorithm.
He's dancing
around. You got to feed it. So let's feed that algorithm and do that for us, please. If you want to get all of your crime and sports and small town murder gear, your shirts, your mugs, your bath mats, you do that over at crimeinsports.threadless.com. Go there, do that, and then we suggest wearing it to a live show.
Please do.
Like you heard at the top of the show. Big one we're pushing. Phoenix, March 25th. It kicks off the tour
it's
right here
almost
at home.
sold out. Hurry up.
So get in there, get that. A lot of these shows are selling out. Portland just sold out. Seattle, we sold out, added a second show.
Bananas.
That's selling quick, too. So
Thank
get those
you guys
tickets.
so much.
Thank you guys very, very much for doing that. We really appreciate it. And if you want to be a superstar, wonderful person,
you can.
Like a list of these phenomenal people we have at the end of the show, Jimmy, you can do that by going to patreon.com/crimeinsports.
That's the one.
Or you can make a one-time donation over at PayPal. Just use our email address, crimeinsports@gmail.com.
Yes, sir.
And if you are not listening to Small Town Murder,
what are you doing?
I don't know what you're doing.
What's wrong with you?
You should be listening to Small Town Murder. It's crazy. It's murder. It's us, and we're making fun of murder in a small town. It's good stuff. So if you like us, do that. Also, listen to P.S. I Hate This Movie.
Do that.
We would like that a lot. Also, it's me and my wife, Sarah Hunt, making fun of bad romantic comedies. And I get awfully angry a lot. So if you like rants, that's where you get them a lot, because I'm ranting a lot on that show with that crap going on. But today, never mind all of that, Jimmy. Today, my God, do we have a tale. We have really stacked them
Real
lately.
quick, you guys watched What Women Want, and
we did.
You have problems with that movie?
Oh, fuck, is it terrible?
That's maybe the best Mel Gibson movie ever.
Wow.
It's my favorite because of this. It's because Mel Gibson actually plays what real Mel Gibson is like. Just how much he fucking hates women.
No, that's not true. He didn't call anyone a Jew or anything like that the entire time.
Or throw the N-word out. Nothing. Or call a woman a C.
No racial slurs. I didn't see him hammered, throwing shit at police officers on the side of the road. Nothing like that. So,
he didn't call anybody sugar tits in that movie. You've got a point.
He might have, actually. That he might have done at one point, because he really was a dickhead in that movie. But
listen to that show for that.
Yeah, we go crazy on that show. But this today, my God, Jimmy, this is craziness. Mm-hmm. This is pure crazy, 100% crazy. Let's get started here.
Okay.
We're getting out of the brain damage sports this week, which, we've been in the brain damage sports.
I don't know if it's great.
Normally, the brain damage sports provide entertainment that the other sports can't provide, but today this is not the case.
That's not the case.
Today this isn't the case. There's plenty of entertainment here. We're going to the NBA.
Yeah.
And we're going to Roy Tarpley Jr.
Oh boy.
You know it's going to be
You're damn right.
I saw that. I knew his whole story, and I read a lot of his crimes, and then I saw at the end Junior, and I'm like, of course.
Perfect.
How did I not know? Of course he's a junior. He's Roy James Tarpley Jr.
And what year did he play in the NBA? Because I don't know that name.
You don't know that name? God,
No.
I see. That's weird, because when we were kids, he was such a big name because he kept getting suspended for drugs. He was he was the Steve Howe of basketball.
Oh shit!
Where they kept using him as an example, like, well, you keep giving this Roy Tarpley a chance. What the hell's there's none of this shit matters if you keep giving this guy a chance.
I'm shocked that I don't know who this guy is.
Yeah, he played. We'll get into when he played, but he's born on November 28th, 1964.
Okay.
In New York City. He's from Far Rockaway, out there in Queens, I believe, out there, and it wasn't
That's some hood shit out there.
Yeah, it was pretty hoody, but I guess his mother's name was Selenar, and his father was Roy Senior. Obviously,
of course.
They were together. He comes from like a whole home life. He has a whole home life. They tried to keep him out of everything and shield him and make him not like that. He would play like but he was into basketball from a young age, but he didn't take to it right away.
Really?
He has a late growth spurt. He's one of those kids with a late growth spurt that was growing into his body in high school as it was growing under him. So it was that's a tough sell right there.
Well, and this is in middle school this is happening?
This is like middle school, early high school.
When you're like finding your dick. And then it just like grows insanely.
He's like, whoa, how do I handle this thing? Jesus Christ, I can't handle it, damn it. Like he played basketball in a police athletic league at one point. Like they were trying to keep him, out of the streets, but he also played street ball and that sort of thing here. Now, this is so weird. At his high school, the coaches went on strike.
What?
In New York, apparently.
The coaches, they're a part of a union? I guess
they just
teachers
said
union.
We're leaving, apparently, is what they said. So whatever the case was, he ends up moving part-time or half the time to Mobile, Alabama.
Oh, no.
To live with his grandmother. That's a culture shock there.
In the 70s? That's not good.
70s, early 70s. Can you imagine, can you imagine going from Queens to Mobile, Alabama? That is a culture shock, man.
Is this a fish out of water story? Is that what this is?
No. It turns into a fish buried in cocaine story.
Awesome.
It's a fish drowning in booze story. It's one of those kind of stories. So he ends up going down there and continuing to play basketball. In Mobile, he's cut from the varsity basketball team as a sophomore.
Really?
So this is what I mean. He's not one of these.
He's cut.
He's not like one of these kids where they're like, oh man, the scouts are looking at him in the ninth grade. Not even close to that at all.
But he made varsity as a sophomore, and then they cut him.
Yeah. And then in his junior year, he averaged 3.5 points a game.
What? And this guy made it to the NBA.
Yeah. So this is not like
I averaged 3.5 points less than him in high school. That's
right.
Pretty impressive.
You could have.
Than a guy that made it to the NBA.
Could have been a big star, Jimmy. Could have been a big star and blown it all. That's the thing. You could have blown every last drop of it, and you didn't do that yet, though, so that's okay. Well, you don't really have anything to blow, so once you get it, we'll see if you can acquire something, and then maybe we can piss it away. So they were in Mobile, and he's with his brother and sister. Like they'd spend their summers down there with an uncle, and they'd live with their grandmother half the time here. here. He like I said, he grows a lot in high school, and he said it was better to go down to Mobile anyway because he said the New York City schools are really bad, which I don't know how great they were in Mobile, Alabama, but apparently they were better than they were in Far Rockaway, so that says a lot right there.
That's awesome.
He ends up at one point later on moving to Detroit to live with his mother's brother, who's a former coach and operates. He had a summer basketball camp there and that sort of thing. Okay. So this is where he's found in 1981. Bill Frieder, who you might know that name as the future coach of ASU.
Okay, that's what. Yeah, I pictured that fucking gin blossom nose of his.
Exactly.
He had a weird nose.
Where Jimmy pretty much grew up in Arizona, so that was an 80s ASU coach here. Okay. And he coached Michigan in the early to mid 80s.
Got it.
So he walks into this gym he's basically looking for, he's bottom feeding right now. Yeah. Michigan was a shit team. They were 7-20 the year before.
The Wolverines.
The Wolverines. Yeah. And the way they put it was they were looking for anyone who could walk and chew gum at the same time at this point.
This is before they found Chris Webber.
This is pre-Fab 5 here. This is
long before.
Yeah, this is the beginning of it because Tarpley kind of ushers in that era.
Really?
His guys go from being a shit team to being a good tournament team, to being a contender, and it's a lot through him.
Fascinating.
But so they see this kid, they see Tarpley, and they're not very impressed with him. It was one of those things. They thought he was a junior. That's the only reason why they were like, well, let's take a look at this kid. They didn't. He was a senior at the time. Was going into his senior year.
They're like, maybe next year. He's like, I'll be waiting fucking tables at Red Robin. If you don't
so they were like, he's going into his junior year, so maybe he'll be good. But they didn't realize he was going into his senior year. Lucky for him. He goes back a month later, and I guess Tarpley had grown more in a month. He'd grown like an inch and a half.
How about that?
Like, holy shit! And his basketball skills were improving. And so Frieder started to get interested in him. He would write him. He would call him. He invited him to a football game at Michigan to try to make him feel like he was important here.
That's nice.
Apparently, he goes back to Mobile, Alabama in August, and he's telling everybody that Michigan's interested in him, and everybody's laughing at him. Like, you're not even good, dude. Like, what are you talking about?
That's amazing.
You're not going to college.
This is great.
Especially not somewhere outside of here. There's a junior college 3 miles down. Go enroll. They don't need to recruit you. Just sign up.
We got four guys better than you on the high school team.
The recruiter is just a piece of paper on the wall that you sign up for, and then you're on the team.
Right.
That's the recruitment here. So they ended up looking at him, and they said he couldn't score at the time. He wasn't very good. And then over the course of that summer, he grew more and stepped his game up with his uncle's help a little bit. And his senior year, he averaged 28 points and 22 rebounds a game.
Holy shit!
And he's 6'10" all of a sudden. So basically, this Michigan coach looked at like a 6'6" guy who wasn't that great that he thought was a junior.
Right.
And he ends up with a guy who was going into his senior year. He wouldn't even have looked at if he knew he was going into his senior year. Who ends up being this insanely dominant, like
power forward,
all-American center, and it's crazy.
So he's playing center.
Yeah, he's playing in high school. He's playing center. So, all the other schools, they missed out, basically.
Otherwise, he's a shooting guard in college.
Yeah, otherwise if he was 6'5". Yeah, that's
and now
the
they got
here.
This big guy. This is great. This is a hell of a story.
So it's pretty nice. So and Frieder said, "quote It was like a guy falling out of the sky. He came to Michigan with no driver's license, no real address, and no social security number.
What?
It was like there was no Roy Tarpley at all, and then all of a sudden there's a Roy Tarpley." So he's Brendan Fraser in the Scout. They picked him out of a Mexican village.
Or Encino Man. Or any movie that Brendan Fraser's in.
He's always a recluse weirdo every single time. Any time. He's never just like, hey, Brendan's one of the guys.
And then he became
and then now he's a recluse weirdo in real life. I want to see a steel cage match between Brendan Fraser and Randy Quaid. I think that would be batshit and
beautiful.
Awesome. Wouldn't that be the best? Let's set that up.
I want Brendan Fraser to rip his beard out one hair at a time.
Any agents out there have any pull at all? You can set this up for me.
Neither of them are doing fuck right now. You can figure it out. So, $20,000 will get that to happen.
Yeah, I guess so. So we can do this for $20,000, guys. Do you understand?
Go fund
Actually, Brendan Fraser did those Mummy movies, and what did he do? Not Mummy, the other one.
He did the Mummy.
The Mummy.
Yeah.
He did like 5 franchises. Yeah. He has so much money.
But
that's what it is.
He quit Hollywood.
I was going to say he didn't quit because
because the money's dried up.
He quit because I have too much money. Why am I doing this stupid shit? Why am I dressing up like
Dudley Do-Right money?
Why am I dressing up like George of the Jungle jungle when I could be fucking sitting in the French Riviera, like,
buying horses and doing nothing.
Buying horses.
That's what he does.
That's the funniest thing, because that's like the most random fuck-witted moneyed person.
That's the person with too much money. I buy horses.
You have way too much money is why you buy horses. This is the only reason why someone would buy horses. So,
who's got time to train those fucking things and break their spirit and make them fucking obey?
Break their spirit.
That's what you've got to do to a horse. You've got to break it down.
You got to ruin its psyche, and then you have to.
You got to make it not a fucking horse.
Yeah, really. Otherwise, it's going to just disagree because of nature.
Because it's bigger than you.
Because it's a horse,
right?
And it really doesn't have to do anything. That's the thing. It doesn't really.
They measure your truck's power by horsepower.
By how many of those you have. Which really tells you how much we're dominating nature. It's like I rounded up 600 horses and stuffed them into a 7x7 container.
Put them under my fucking truck hood.
Right. I pressed this little pedal that I could do. Even if I was an old lady, I could press this down and I could just shoot out 700 horses worth. Take that, horses. Fuck you. Real nice.
And this shit that I built it out of horses. Used to be dirt. That's and I fucking mined it and made horses out of it.
Made horses. Lots of them. So this Frieder says, quote, when you're around, sometimes you fall into certain situations.
Yeah.
I can remember saying, oh my God, I wish someday we could get a break and get a player without a lot of hard work. Tarp was no work at all. When you get a kid like that who works out that well, you just got to be lucky.
Yeah.
So he's 6'11", 230 by the time he gets to Michigan. So that was a hell of a good investment by accident that guy made, pretty much.
Frieder was lucky. A weird-looking man.
Oh, he's a super weird-looking man.
He's a bizarre-looking dude. He looks like the kind of guy that, like...
He looks like he's never eaten a lunch that wasn't liquid. Is what he looks like. He's never had food for lunch.
He looks like he just loves dirty jokes that have the word pussy in them. Those are his favorite jokes.
Pussy and the N-word.
Yeah.
Any joke with the N-word in it, I'm in.
Any joke, you got to clear your shoulders before you look at it. Tell the joke. Like, that's his favorite joke.
So he goes to Michigan for the 1982-1983 season, and Michigan was they were turning it around.
Yeah.
Frieder was trying to turn it around. Team goes 15-13 under Bill Frieder this year, so they turned it around. They were 7-20 2 years before that, so that's not too shabby here.
See, this is the Bill Frieder that I don't remember, because obviously 82, I was too fucking young.
Well, yeah,
and I wasn't even in Arizona yet. But I just remember him being like he was essentially Henry Winkler in The Waterboy every year, because U of A just pummeled them into the fucking ground every year.
If Henry Winkler was he an alcoholic in that movie?
No, he was just like super beaten down.
I feel like Bill Frieder was an alcoholic. He looked like an alcoholic. I'm sorry, it's alleged. I can't prove that, but I feel like he was like I said, liquid lunches all the time. He looks like
one, yeah.
He'd say, "What are we going out for a bite tonight?" Right. He goes, "I'm drinking my dinner." He'd sit down in his office with one lamp on and just drink.
One of the greatest, well, I wouldn't say one of the greatest, but he's a legend in country music. Jerry Reed, he was the coach of the opposing team in The Waterboy, and he essentially is the what was that guy's name? Was it Lute Olson?
Lute Olson.
Yeah, it was Lute Olson, U of A coach, right? He's essentially like the Lute Olson, the guy with like the ring and like and he's just beating down Henry Winkler every fucking time they play him,
just pummeling him. We have a good program,
right. We've put money into this,
Roy,
illegally,
but we're dumping cash in. It's capital.
Every week.
Either way, it's capital. Tarpley plays in 26 games, starts 2. He's a freshman. 9.1 minutes per game. They're easing him in. 3.5 points, 3.2 rebounds. So they're easing him into the lineup freshman year.
Okay.
But 83-84 season, he's a beast already. He comes out in sophomore year. He was a bench guy playing behind somebody in the playing a second string in his freshman year. Sophomore year, they put the guy they had first string and him out there at the same time.
Wow.
So it's kind of a twin tower situation here.
That?
And 83-84, he blocks a record 69 shots.
Holy shit.
And was named the team's most improved player and also the most valuable player on the team.
Wow.
So by the team themselves.
He wins MVP
of that team. The internal vote. Yeah. The team goes 24-9 total. Roy, 33 games, 20 games started, 28.2 minutes a game. Now he stepped it up. 12.5 points, 8.1 rebounds, 0.9 assists, 2.1 blocks a game.
My God.
So don't come into his paint. He's going to swat your shit. They go to the NIT tournament.
All right.
They just missed the They just missed the NBA tournament here because nowadays 24-9, that's a decent record.
That's fantastic.
Get you into the tournament, but not then. They go to the NIT. They beat Wichita State in the first round, which I think is like a college baseball team for the most part. I could beat
Wichita State.
Yeah, they're not great. They beat Marquette in the second round. They beat Xavier, and then they play Notre Dame in the NIT finals, and they beat them.
Wow.
They beat Notre Dame, and this is awesome because this gets them
attention.
Nothing. You're the 65th best team. Congratulations. That's literally your title. Good luck to you. But it shows that they can play through a tournament and that the team's growing. So that's good. At least they beat the shit teams put in front of them. They didn't lose to those teams.
In case Ball State slips a little bit, you're right there. Michigan.
You're right there to take their right there to take their place if Rice slips down a notch. Right. How it works. So 84-85 season, he plays in 30 games and starts all 30. So now he's the man. 33.9 minutes per game, 19 points a game, 10.4 rebounds, 1.6 assists, 2.2 blocks.
Great.
He's the man now. This is ridiculous now. He's the Big Ten Player of the Year.
Okay.
So he's the Conference Player of the Year. He is NCAA third-team All-American.
Great.
So you have to understand, that's when Patrick Ewing and Akeem Olajuwon and all of these guys were playing center. So to be third team was
David Robinson
terrific.
in there then too?
Not yet. He was still in the Navy back then. But 84-85, that's Ewing came out in 85. He was drafted by the Knicks. Like I said, Olajuwon. Yeah. It's chock full of centers back then. So to be third team is pretty goddamn good. Team goes 26-4 this year.
That's great.
So they've come all the way around. Yeah. Full circle.
26 wins, 4 losses.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
Pretty impressive here. They're number one seed in their in the big their region in the tournament. Okay. They beat Fairleigh Dickinson in the first round, which is a small school back east. Yeah. That, I remember I
don't know shit about them.
I just remember that kids that were white kids that were 5'10" were I'm going to go there and play quarterback, and it was that's 5'10" white kids that weren't athletic playing quarterback for.
I've never heard of Fairleigh or Dickinson.
Exactly.
Was it Dickinson?
Dickinson. Fairleigh Dickinson.
All right.
They beat them 59-55 in the first round, which isn't exactly blowing them out.
No.
It's the number 16 seed. Then they play Villanova in round 2, and they lose 59-55.
All right.
Villanova went on to that miracle run that year, beating Georgetown in the finals in the huge upset and being the champ. So at least you lost to the Cinderella upset of the century.
The one that wasn't going to lose.
Exactly. Right. So that year also, that summer, his parents divorced after 20 years.
Oh, boy.
So they got him out of the house.
20 years.
The brother and the sister, and they were well, we don't like each other. We were just trying to keep the kids from getting arrested.
How do you get through 20 years and then just be fuck it, I don't like you?
I don't know. Well, I got divorced after a good amount of time.
How long did you do?
It was over a decade.
How long did you do?
How long did you do? I did.
How long was your bid?
I did 13 years, but 10 of it was in solitary, so it's much harder. None of that's true, by the way, but still. You know how it goes. But
all right.
They do. He said he began drinking in high school, and his drug problem really picked up at Michigan.
That'll do it.
The booze is always there.
Yeah.
He's always going to booze.
I'm familiar.
That's not a question. It's just how much cocaine is he doing while he's boozing.
I'm enjoying being off the corporate property tonight. I'll be honest with you.
Yes, tonight, that's the thing. We're in our studio. Like I said, you're going to hear an echo this week that will kill by next week.
We'll fix it.
We'll fix it. But Jimmy can crack beers.
Yeah.
We can sit here. We can do what we want.
I can get drunk.
Jimmy can get drunk and silly, so it'll be a good time. He says, let's have an in their own words on his lifestyle in college here. What do you say? Let's do an in their own words. Quote, "It was college. Sure, I'd go to fraternity parties. I was drinking and stuff. Everybody drinks in college. My problem is that I'm a cocaine addict. That's my problem, cocaine. My biggest problem is that I let Roy do whatever Roy wanted to do."
Right.
So that's him later talking about college and later on. So that tells you exactly what type of episode we have here, where he first of all referred to himself in the third person,
right.
Number one, and then he said, "I'm a cocaine addict. That's my problem, cocaine." So this is going to be good.
Also, he's passing off that booze is not a problem.
No, for him,
booze is for sure a problem.
It's a problem, but really, the cocaine's a huge problem.
But when you're a coke addict,
but then it's just you can drink and booze together,
right?
They go hand in hand. Right. That's the problem.
That's the thing is that when you're a coke addict, as soon as you crack that beer, you're like, could do a rail right now.
I could do that, and then I'm not as drunk, and I could drink more booze, and then I'm not as high, so I could do more coke. And yeah, so you can ride that roller coaster, and he does it. He is
oh boy,
he is hanging out at the circus all day long, so the amusement park. So 85-86 season, he is he's in Michigan again. October 28th, 1985, he has some he hyperextends his knee and had to have some arthroscopic surgery to look around basically and make sure it was nothing. It ended up being not a big deal because he plays in 33 games. Whoa. He only misses a game or two here. 31 starts, 31.7 minutes per game, 15.9 points, 8.8 rebounds, 1.4 assists, 2.9 blocks per game. Almost 3 blocks a game.
That's a big deal.
Goddamn dominating. He's NCAA third-team All-American again. Team goes 28-5.
My Christ.
Again, doing pretty damn well. They're the number 2 seed in the tournament. They beat Akron in the first round, which, the powerhouse of Akron.
Such a big deal.
You know that, 70-64, and they lose to Iowa State in the second round. So that's not great, getting knocked. They haven't learned how to win the NCAA tournament yet. Right. They didn't get that down. They lose 72-69. June 17th, 1986 is the NBA draft.
Fantastic.
Oh, baby. NBA draft, New York City.
The 86 draft?
86 draft.
Is that... No. Is that Jordan? No, Jordan was 84.
Jordan was 84.
Yeah.
This is 86 draft. This is the Len Bias draft.
Oh, okay.
Where Len Bias is, I don't know
such
if you
a great story.
They draft him from Maryland. He's an amazing player.
And he'll never play.
Clean cut guy in the world. Everybody loves him. They draft him. 2 days later, he dies from cocaine overdose. So, not a great. That's kind of the story of the 86 draft. Half
the greatest player in America is dead.
Half these guys are total drug washouts.
Fantastic.
In this draft. It's ridiculous. So Felt Forum, which is the little add-on, 5,000 seater at Madison Square Garden. It's the side room at MSG. This is live on TBS.
For those of you who don't know, comedy clubs have side rooms, and they're all bullshit.
Yeah, they're all terrible. The Felt Forum is like the side room.
It's where you see the open micer that gets to say, "I performed at the Improv."
And people are like, "Why am I in here?
Right. Isn't there another place?
This isn't the club, is it?"
I swear I've seen Norm Macdonald here.
And there's every one of these comedy clubs has this too. Every single one of them. Look, go to your local comedy club, find it. You'll see it there. Yeah. So this draft holds the record for most players who later end up playing in the NBA.
Really?
So the most that actually play. There's 66 players drafted end up in the NBA. They don't even draft 66 players now, never mind having 66 actually play in the league. Now, you need to know this. On October 30th, you don't really need to know it, but I'm a completionist. So October 30th, 1980, this is 6 years before, the Cleveland Cavaliers traded, they made a trade in 80 and 83 to end up with a 1986 draft pick that they end up trading to the Mavs for a couple of guys here.
Okay.
So the Mavericks end up with a higher draft pick than they were going to have to begin with.
Nice.
So that's how this ends up happening. They end up switching 7 and 8. So
what's the even point of that?
It's so silly.
So stupid.
But top of the draft, that could make a difference. 7 and 8. In the top 10, that makes a difference.
That might get you what you need rather than what's available.
Number 1 overall, Brad Daugherty.
Ooh, really?
Him, the big kind of oafy. He was okay.
He had great hair.
Yeah, he had. He was a handsome fella. Yeah. But him and Mark Price in Cleveland.
He had a big fat ass though, Brad Daugherty. He had a weird ass.
Yeah, that was that boring Cleveland team that would bore you to tears and win 61-55 like a college women's basketball game. It's fucking horrible.
Who else was on that team between Price and Daugherty?
Who cares?
Was Nance on the team?
Yeah,
Nance was on that team.
That was such a that was a boring team.
Very fundamental, boring ass team.
Their whole thing was hold the ball until the end of the play clock and then shoot with 2 seconds left on the play clock. That was their plan. So it was just they just pass it around. It was the most boring. It was like watching a game in 1951.
Don't break a sweat, fellas.
I was like, well, we don't have to be athletic if we do this. We can just pass it around.
Don't break a sweat. Those tight, tiny shorts will chafe your balls.
Definitely.
Don't break a sweat.
Number 2 overall is the Boston Celtics, choosing Len Bias, who then dies 2 days later, as we discussed.
Right.
Number 3 is Chris Washburn. Remember him from Golden State?
Yeah.
He was drafted by Golden State, and we'll talk about him later.
Oh,
he has
fantastic.
a similar problem.
Really?
So we're talking Doherty's okay, but Bias, Washburn, Coke, Chuck Person, number 4.
Oh, God.
Love Chuck Person.
He's in a lot of trouble right now.
Yes, he is. He's got problems. So there's another guy. We'll talk about him in another date. Kenny Walker is number 5 overall by the Knicks. Kenny Walker had a big kid and play haircut.
Flat top.
Then a big high flat top and wore like gold chains and shit during the dunk contest in like 89. He looked like he was like in New Jack City, and they took him off the set and put him on here. And as a kid, I fucking loved him. I was like, this guy's great.
Yeah.
Look at his hair. This is cool.
He's going to put out a piece of cardboard and breakdance.
Definitely. Number 6 overall, the Suns. Of course, they're going to piss that away if they have a high draft pick. They pick William Bedford.
Oh, my God.
There you go with that. Number 7 overall, Dallas selects Roy Tarpley.
Terrific.
Number 7 overall. And the only reason he went so late was because there's a lot of rumors that he does a lot of coke. It's funny. Now,
how awesome is that he had the rumor that he does a lot of coke, yet number 2 overall dies of it that night.
He was considered clean cut.
That night,
though, 2 days later, celebrating the draft, literally celebrating.
Exactly.
So Tarpley goes number 7, and it's funny because the Dallas's ownership at this point are like a bunch of hardcore Bible-thumping Christians.
Oh, good Christ.
They call them the God Squad.
Eesh.
That's what they call these guys. So it's not Mark Cuban as the owner.
Right.
So they select Tarpley, which is an odd choice for them. But they needed a center, so what the fuck? We're doing it. Ron Harper's number 8, as we know him for years.
Oh, he's the guy with the lisp.
From some of the Bulls teams.
Unbelievable three-point shooter.
Johnny Dawkins, John Sally was in that draft, number 11 overall.
Terrible actor.
Does tons of things, John Sally.
A bad actor.
Del Curry, Steph's dad.
Oh, yeah.
Goes number 15
Great
overall.
Three-point shooter.
Great, terrific three-point shooter, just like his son, Scotty Skiles, who's a coach now, and all that goes.
Great three-point shooter.
Another great another one here, Mark Price at number 20. So the Cavs got Doherty and Price that year.
In the same draft in the first round.
Which isn't too shabby. Well,
that's amazing.
They get the Mavs pick up, they draft Price and then trade him to Cleveland.
Got it.
So on the day of the draft. So they end up with him. Dennis Rodman, number 27 overall.
Okay.
This is like, sorry to go through the whole draft, but this is fucking interesting to me. Nate McMillan, number 30, another guy who played in the league forever.
Did he go to the Supersonics drafted?
Nate McMillan, I believe so, but let me make sure here.
I can't remember where
Supersonics.
he went. Okay, he was drafted by
I know he was on those them later in there.
Played for the Suns too, didn't he?
A little bit. Otis Smith too. David Wingate, who we'll definitely talk about someday because he was a rapey.
Did he get drafted by the Hornets?
Wingate, no, the Hornets didn't exist back then. He got drafted by the Sixers.
Okay.
And he was a little rapey in his
Where did
career.
Del Curry go?
Utah Jazz.
That's fascinating that David Wingate and Del Curry both ended up on the hornets in there. Anyway. Doesn't matter.
I'm sure that was they left him unprotected. I'm sure or something like that. And Jeff Hornacek, number 46 overall.
This fucking draft is loaded with 3-point shooters.
This draft is loaded with all the 3-point shooters of our childhood video games.
Yeah, truly.
I'm going to put that white guy in so I can shoot threes. That all of these guys, every single one of them were here, which is
awesome.
Very, very interesting here. Now, 86-87 season, Dallas is coached by Dick Motta, who's got a great name for some reason.
Does.
Dickie Motta here. He coached in the NBA for 25 years. Okay. He's an old coach. He was the 1970-71 coach of the year.
Really?
So that tells you how long he's been in the league.
That guy.
He was good 15 years before this draft, so he's not to be fucked with here. This team had Detlef Schrempf, Sam Perkins, big stone Sam Perkins.
That's right. Detlef Schrempf was drafted by the fucking Mavericks.
Oh yeah, and I remember Perkins. His big, he looked like he just ingested a half pound of weed at all times. He was just like, pancakes? What the fuck? Oh, here's the ball.
That's hilarious.
He was great though.
Yeah.
I love Sam Perkins.
Yeah.
Derek Harper was on that team, and Rolando Blackman.
That's right.
One. Yeah, he was good too. So that was kind of their squad. He plays in 75 games this year.
Okay.
And the coach said, Dick Motta said, normally he gives like the rookies it's boot camp for them. He busts their ass. He's on their shit. Tarpley coming in, like all the scouting reports were that he wasn't aggressive. So they were this coach was expecting to really have to be up Tarpley's ass. Yeah. And he gets there and he said Tarpley was the most aggressive guy there. He's like, I let him skip the whole rookie thing. I didn't break his balls. He didn't need it. He was on top of his shit. So he plays in 75 games, only starts one, but he's a rookie. 19.7 minutes a game, 7.5 points, 7.1 rebounds, 1.1 blocks. He's a rookie. He's doing pretty damn well as a rookie here. In the playoffs, the team loses to Seattle 3-1 in the first round.
And then Detlef leaves the team.
And then Detlef goes to Seattle with Sam Perkins.
Hey, you guys seem like a good squad. I'll play with you.
Harper ends up later on the Knicks, but that's not for years. In the playoffs, he plays in all 4 games, starts one of them, averages 13.3 points and 10.5 rebounds in the playoffs in his rookie year. So that's not bad. He is on the first team all-rookie team, which is fantastic. Yeah. That's not bad at all. Here, let's go ahead. Let's do this now.
Yeah,
Grace
already.
This is Grace.
Rookie year.
This is rookie year.
Holy shit,
Grace here. He's had enough. He's done well. for himself, and that's where it ends.
Oh, boy.
Much. He has his ups, but he also has his downs here. Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you more about Movement watches.
Movement.
MVMT.com. This is started by a couple of college dropouts that started their own watch company.
My kind of dudes.
My kind of guys, man. It's grown so large, with almost 2 million watches sold in 160 plus countries. They continue to revolutionize the fashion of the watch industry. It is fantastic, and the price on these are wonderful. Movement watches start at just $95.
Yeah.
At a department store, a watch like this, and I'm telling you because I'm looking at it right now because I'm wearing it, because I wear my Movement watch every day.
It's an unbelievable watch.
It's that nice. I put my other watch aside, and it's sitting there collecting dust at this point because this is so damn nice.
It's a beautiful
watch. They're gorgeous watches. They're really nice. Movement figured out that by selling online, they're able to cut out the middleman and all that retail markup crap and provide the best possible price for awesome, classically designed, quality constructed, stylized, beautiful watches. So support this company and their awesome watches. They started from being a crowd-funded little operation out of a living room, and today, you can get 15% off with free shipping and free returns by going to mvmt.com/crimeinsports. See why Movement keeps growing. Check out their expanding collection. Go to mvmt.com/crimeinsports. Join the movement.
mvmt.com/crimeinsports. Get yourself a watch. You deserve it. And now back to the show.
Hello, guys. It's MMA fighter Chael Sonnen. Check out my podcast, You're Welcome, with Chael Sonnen every Wednesday and Friday right here at Podcast One. We cover the latest in mixed martial arts and everything else going on in the world of sport. Listen free to You're Welcome with Chael Sonnen, exclusively available on Apple Podcasts, at podcastone.com, and on the Podcast One app. If you love the show, share it with a friend and leave us a rating and review.
We say grace because in June '87, this whole thing, the team knew about his substance problems in college. They know all the rumors, everything. They send these scouts. They're going to invest in a guy in the first round. They talk to everybody. They talk to every girl he fucked. They talk to everybody on campus to see if he's a dick. They see what's going on here. Now it's coming out publicly that the Mavs knew about it, but they didn't say, we're going to draft this guy. He's got alcohol problems and drug problems, but we're going to take him. We're going to make something out of him. That's not how it worked. So it's kind of a little different here. The Mavs vowed to help him with the drug and alcohol problems shortly after the draft, and when the team in Tarpley ended up reaching out to Mark Aguirre, the basketball player
from the Pistons.
Aguirre, Right. They end up reaching out to Aguirre to mentor him, and Aguirre agreed to do it under one condition.
What's that?
He said, quote, "I said you have to move in with me."
Oh, boy.
So now you got to live with this goddamn guy. So Tarpley lived with Aguirre for his first 2 seasons.
That guy had no neck.
Aguirre says, quote, "Look, I'm from the streets." He said he grew up in Chicago. He said that stuff was not going to happen. And he knew me. He knew I was not going to let that stuff happen. And his mom knew. She knew I had him too. He did not get into any of that stuff. No suspensions or anything like that. Hell no. There were no suspensions or anything like that when I was there. But after they were separated,
problems.
Shit happened here.
Suspensions are happening.
But he said that, but then at the end of his rookie year, he goes into drug treatment. So he was living with him that whole time, but now he needs drug treatment. So apparently he was doing shit here.
Got it.
Maybe that's only during the season they were living together. I don't know, because this was in July. Around this time, Dallas Times Herald reporter, sports columnist, our old buddy, dickhead Skip Bayless.
No way.
Fuck yeah, we got a Skip Bayless
He started as
reference.
the fucking Dallas Mavericks beat writer?
He was the Dallas sports reporter for that paper. He was.
I guess that makes sense. That's why he's a fucking Cowboys honk.
Absolutely, he's a Cowboys guy. He's a Texas guy, but he's started out he still would take these stupid inflammatory positions for no reason, and just and have that smug look like I'm a prick. Isn't it great? Like, fucking asshole, you frosty haired douchebag. God, I hate that son of a bitch. So he does an interview with Skip Bayless. Roy does, and thinks it's like thinks it's a fluff piece, and it's not a fluff piece. Skip Bayless, from what Tarpley says, was tricked into this. Bayless gives the whole Tarpley story. He quoted his own mother, who was a recovering alcoholic. and said that and wrote that Tarpley was, quote, one drink away from oblivion. Wow. Is what Skip Bayless put.
That's a hell of a thing to say about somebody.
That's a tough label to put on somebody. And so rumors, he talked about rumors that linked Tarpley to drinking and maybe cocaine use. His name, apparently, at this point, there was in this season, we don't know exactly when it happened, but there was a police report where a girl accused him of hitting her.
A girl accused Tarpley of hitting her.
A woman accuses him of hitting her, but we don't know exactly what happened. No charges were filed. There was only a police report made.
Okay.
And it's very vague and it's not available now. So it's just reports of people seeing the report at the time.
Fascinating.
So we don't really have anything on it here. But there's different things. Bayless talks about how in his final season, Coach Bill Frieder let him sit on the bench for much of an important game, and the reason was that Tarpley had been drunk at practice the day before.
Oh, Jesus.
So the coach was pissed at him and was punishing him. Mm-hmm. Also, he tested positive in 2 drug tests at college. Frieder would deny that. Tarpley says his college days were, quote, a wild, crazy, fun time, but he says the stories of alleged debauchery have been greatly, greatly over-exaggerated.
Sure.
So I'm sure they have. I'm sure they have.
Yeah.
He ends up attending an NBA-sponsored drug and alcohol rehab program in California in June of '87. So this is like he's clearing the slate. He went to them for help, they said, and he failed a drug test and then said, I need help.
Right.
Whereas he didn't have to say that. So they're saying, okay, well, at least he's saying he needs help. He says, quote, I don't want to let myself down or my mother. I don't want to be a statistic. I don't want people saying another one bites the dust, which will probably be the name of this episode. So thanks, Roy. Appreciate that. Thank you for that one. It's hard to come up with those episode names every week. I really have a hard time with that shit sometimes. I sit there for a half hour going, what the fuck do I call this thing? Another one bites the dust. The Sanju, who is one of the owners of the team, one of the God Squad guys.
Oh boy.
He says, quote, Roy came to me in the summer. He said he'd been drinking. He said he tried cocaine and he wanted to stop a potentially bad situation before it really began to get out of hand. I'm grateful for his understanding that it could have been a problem. So the team has got silver-haired middle-aged white men are coming out of the woodwork
for sure
to prop him up.
Already.
Which, if he comes out of college and he's a good kid, but he's got a little bit of a drug problem, that's fine at this point. It's not like it's his 8th offense, or it's not like he's Steve Howe.
And at this point, they're just talking about booze, which is fairly easy to correct.
And he said he's tried cocaine, which means I've done cocaine all summer.
Much.
I've done so much cocaine that I have to come to the owner of the team to talk to you about it. That's how much cocaine I'm doing.
I'm doing it off of insane things. I found a picture of my mother and I cut up a line on that.
So you know how that works.
Right.
So the problem is with this whole thing that they say that it's like, oh, all will be forgiven.
Right.
This is great, but they're really not. Then you get a label at this point.
Of course.
There's an NFL scout that talks about it, and he says, quote, when an athlete enters treatment for dope or alcohol dependency, 2 things invariably happen. The ones who stick with the program never become the players they were before. A lot of them need that stuff to generate certain performance levels, but most of them simply wind up going the way of former Rangers pitcher Steve Howe. They claim they've done the cure, and the problem's a thing of the past, then they turn around and go on a 6-day bender.
They call back our dude.
They call back our dude. We'll also get a Hollywood Henderson reference later on.
Amazing.
You don't think Roy and Hollywood Henderson cross paths at all? They're both in Dallas.
The same town.
What do you think's going to happen here? And Roy, and you know how Hollywood loves to talk to anyone who's on drugs.
Anybody that does coke with him.
You think maybe they're going to cross paths later. Let's just
they're
say
getting it from the same dude.
They did at some point. He's like, oh, that you still get it from him too?
Yeah.
That was my guy when I did it. Good shit. This is good stuff here. The anti-drug program for the NBA at this point, if after a player completes drug or alcohol therapy, he misses a game or 2. If he misses a game or 2 practices in a 7-day period, he must submit to a drug test.
Okay.
If he flunks or refuses the test, a 30-day suspension follows, plus another run through rehab and the whole thing again.
Oh boy!
Players who reach this point then are strike 2 because it's a 3-strike rule, and another positive test resolves in permanent banishment.
Holy shit!
So that's the deal there. Now, Mark Aguirre says, quote, when Roy first admitted his problem, I was upset with him. We had to be worried about him. We're a team. Aguirre said, but you can't turn your back on the guy, so we're all over him, making sure he's got all the care he needed, and it didn't take long to see that Roy was very sincere about wanting to whip his problem. Another team representative said, quote, I couldn't be prouder of him if he were my own blood son. It's just fucking ridiculous.
What the
man.
fuck?
It's so silly. His mother ends up moving to Dallas.
Yeah.
They said she said, quote, after Roy finished rehabilitation, we had a long talk, and it was decided that it would be better for Roy if I moved to Dallas. If I had lived all my adult life in New York City, and coming to Dallas meant leaving everything behind, a lot of my friends and a lot of seniority at the bank she worked at.
Right.
Quote, in effect, I had to sacrifice the life I'd known in order to save him. But I think I provide an element of security for Roy.
You heard that, Roy? Pay up.
Yeah, pay up. And,
buy mommy a house.
And you can't do lines off pictures of her anymore because she's going to fucking notice that. What is that on my face? What is that?
Right.
What is that powder? So she said that she worries about him on his own. She says she thinks he's making too much money right now.
Yeah.
And she doesn't like it.
She needs to take some off of him.
She's saying he's making too much. Yeah. She said, quote, yes, that bothered me at first. He signed the contract with the Mavericks, and the first thing he does is go out and buy a Mercedes 560 SEL.
Oh, yeah.
And I would hate to think how much money he spends on clothes. If you're in his defense,
wait till you find out how much he spends on coke, Ma.
If you're 6'11", you're going to spend a lot of money on clothes.
Yeah,
you can't just go get those at Target.
No,
there's going to be that's a special order.
That's a problem.
So he says he's going to stay clean.
Yeah.
He says, he says he wants to mean a lot to the fans. He says, he wants to mean as much to the Dallas fans in the '90s as Staubach did in the '70s.
Oh goodness!
And he says, quote, he says he doesn't want to be, quote, not another Roger Staubach necessarily, but someone who could be a positive element in the community, maybe a role model to kids. Kids recognize me around town. I get off on that.
Dude, you're not even Moose Johnson yet.
No, and I don't like the way he said, kids recognize me, I get off on that.
Yeah,
that's not the right terminology. That I'm proud of that. That makes me happy. That's cool. Not I get off on that. Kids are like, hey, Roy, and I'm like, how's it going, kid? No, don't say that. That's fucking terrible.
Roy, that'll get you on a list nowadays.
I would hope so. Jesus, deservedly so. He said, quote, I knew I had a potential problem in my life, one that could wear my body down and ruin my career. When I first looked at the numbers on the contract I signed with the Mavericks, I was overwhelmed. I said, thank you, God. It was a dream come true. It was a $500,000 per year in the beginning deal. He bought a nice townhouse in North Dallas. He said he had the freedom of his own, to shape his life and do what he wanted. He said, quote, I know how much this basketball career means to me. People ask me what I plan to do after basketball. Well, I'd like to own a business of some kind. You think he's going to be successful about that here?
No.
Now, he says he's pissed off about Skip Bayless at this time.
Really?
He called him a, quote, frosty-haired douchebag. No, he didn't, but he should. If he called him that, I have his back.
Yeah, I'm on board.
I got Roy's back 100%. I will defend any cocaine suspension. I'll defend anything this fucking guy does.
I'll get you a
Skip
bag,
Bayless.
Roy.
That's it. I will go out and find you drugs at this point. Fuck that. So he says that he was startled to see the, quote, oblivion comment there. He said it was kind of ridiculous. He said, quote, I did an interview with Bayless and I thought it was going to be positive peace, but I did tell him that I hadn't been going to as many AA meetings as I would like. I hadn't had the urge to take a drink for almost 6 months when I read that, and I still don't. So, but the Bayless also said that old Skippy here said that he applauds the Mavericks' handling of Tarpley and the whole deal. He says, quote, the Mavericks are on pins and needles because they realize that the star of the future star of the present really is a recovering alcoholic. They worry that because he goes to bars with Mark Aguirre, who's his best friend in the team, even though he drinks soda pop, it's still a potentially dangerous situation. Right. Mark Aguirre's taking care of him and shit, but he goes to hang out with him at bars.
That's a terrible idea.
So he's 23 years old,
right?
A recovering alcoholic,
already has a problem.
Coke. He has a problem, and he's hanging out at bars every night, drinking soda or not. Everything is right
Mr.
there.
Mr. Aguirre, that is a terrible. The Mavericks are on pins and needles because they're terrified he's about to be back on coke and booze.
Yeah, for good reason, for Christ's sake. So the 87-88 season, they kind of had the same team there. He's the February 28th, 1988 Player of the Week.
Wow.
He plays in 81 games, starts 9, 28.5 minutes a game, 13.5 points per game, 11.8 rebounds, 1.1 assists, 1.1 blocks. So having a goddamn good year here with the Mavericks in the second year. Team goes 53-29. He ends up winning the 1987-1988 Sixth Man of the Year award.
Wow. And that's enough to get to the playoffs.
That's not bad. Yeah, Coach John McLeod also was another was a mediocre ex-Suns coach.
Yeah.
So this guy, anybody who was half-assed and coached in the Valley of the Sun, this guy has a connection to him here. John McLeod. They go to the playoffs. Yeah. This is a deep run too. They beat Houston in round 1, 3-1.
Wow.
They beat Denver in round 2, 4-2.
Of course they did.
They go all the way to the conference finals versus the champion Lakers.
Really?
Here, and take them to a game 7.
Really?
This team goes to a game 7. Dallas ends up losing.
Showtime Lakers.
With the Showtime world champion Lakers.
Unbelievable.
It was the end of the run.
Right.
I mean,
but it's still amazing.
was about 73 years old. He looked worse than he does now. So,
those big knee pads.
Yeah, he was terrible then, but he was old. I mean, Christ, he was 100 at that point.
Right.
But 17 games he plays in the playoffs. Doesn't start any, but he plays 33.1 minutes a game.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, when he established himself as a sixth man, they would not start him on purpose.
Yeah.
And they just keep him out
to have fresh legs.
First 5-7 minutes, they'd keep him out, and then he would come in like a ball of fire, and and he would dominate. That's how they do it, and then it worked out really, really well. He makes $460,000 this year.
Beautiful.
So that's not bad. That'll cheer you up from a playoff loss. He averages 17.9 points and 12.9 rebounds in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Damn fine. Not too shabby at all. People like him, by the way.
Of course.
He's not a dick. People enjoy this guy. People like Roy.
Sure.
That's the thing. He's not a dick. People don't like him. They say he always has a smile on his face. He's a wonderful teammate. They call him a huge talent. He's just really good. Everybody likes him. There's no problem with him.
Yeah.
They said whenever there's playful banter, Tarpley was in the middle of it. He took more than he dished out, which was fine. He didn't mind. He thought it was fun. They said that he was just a big, happy, goofy teenager is what everybody called him, which is likable, but off the court, the guy's making $500,000 a year, and he's very famous. And a big goofy teenager really isn't.
He's a big goofy teenager because he's high.
Because he's also high. He's happy. There's a story about him. A reporter ran into him here one night after a game. He ran into him in a convenience store, and he had a 6-pack of beer, a huge bag of chips, and a bottle of Tabasco sauce.
Jesus,
that was his night. Apparently, he's 23, 24
What are you
years
doing?
Old,
what's with the Tabasco?
The next day at practice, he was telling the other players about what his shit eating habits.
Yeah,
and he said, "quote I love Tabasco sauce. When I was a kid, I used to drink it right out of the bottle."
Oh, good Christ!
I'm serious. But when I went to the bathroom, I'd be hurting.
Yeah,
because you're not supposed to drink Tabasco. So we know he's huge, on cocaine, and has a sore asshole.
And refuses to take care of his stomach. No. Dude, when you're 35, you're going to regret this shit.
Well, he's got issues later on, too, with his health and things like that. Another day after practice, they were joking around. He was joking around with Derek Harper.
God, I can't imagine drinking Tabasco. That's fucking crazy.
Right out of the bottle.
I mean, granted, he's doing 8 balls, but he clearly doesn't give a fuck about longevity of his health.
I don't think his body or health is a real concern to him. Later on, too, he's like, I just want my health. I'm worried about my body. And it's like, no, you're not. Stop lying. So there was another time where the reporter was hanging out with Derek Harper and Rolando Blackman, Mark Aguirre, and he was talking to him, and they were all kind of having just an affable conversation. And at one point, everybody's laughing, and Tarpley approaches me, and he was laughing, and he says, "Hey, why they call you Hub?" And he says, "Everybody calls you Hub. Why do they call you Hub?" And the guy's last name is Hubbard.
Right.
And he said, he started to answer, "Well, Roy, my last name begins with," and then he stopped and he realized that he's written a million stories about him and they know each other. He said he's never read his name. He doesn't know his fucking name.
Wow.
He realized I've been dealing with this guy for 2 years. This guy has no fucking clue what my name is.
No idea what my name.
Why they call you that nickname, Hub? Like, because you fucking idiot.
You don't know me.
Which is hilarious. And
that's how self-involved he is at the moment.
It is. And so he would tell that all the time, and people love that story. So when he first got his first Twitter handle, his handle was @YHub.
Really?
It was just a funny story that everybody knew him by. Because he was the guy that for 2 years wrote about somebody and talked to him every day and had no idea what his fucking name is. Unbelievable, man. So 88-89 season, in October of 88, he has a strep throat here 2 days before mandatory physicals and all that. But he still goes and he speaks to the NBA annual orientation for rookies meeting.
The symposium?
The symposium. Yeah. He's going to talk about the dangers. He knows about them.
He knows the traps that you can fall into.
And he says, quote, "It feels good to have an opportunity to express the words to give these young guys a message. I told them not to go out and make the same mistakes, just work hard and play ball. I wanted to tell them that's what it's all about, how deadly it can be if you get caught up in it." Which, yeah, I would say so for him. They said when he asked him, he jumped at the chance. He said when he was a rookie at these meetings, no one talked about drugs, and he wanted to do it, goddamn. Okay. So he went in there. The team goes 38-44 and misses the playoffs.
Oh, boy.
But that doesn't matter because during the season, there's more trouble with him. Okay. And we'll find out because he's not there for all of that 38-44.
Really?
We'll find out here. January 8th, 89, a man is charged with dealing drugs in Dallas, and he tells police that he sells cocaine to Roy Tarpley on the regular.
Okay.
They said they had no concrete evidence against Tarpley, but they said that his name has come up to 3 different times in an 8-month investigation from three different people.
That's a lot of coke he's doing.
He's buying coke from everywhere, and people are going, "Yeah, I sell him coke. Yeah. I sell him coke. Yeah, I sell him coke." Yeah. So they can't charge him with anything here, but they do end up telling the league about it and that sort of thing, and it gets back to them because they investigate through the league. They go, "Hey, is this guy what's his deal with coke?" And they're like, "Fuck, god damn it, he's got coke again."
I was like, "Are you sure he plays for the Mavericks?" I'm positive.
Yeah.
Roy Tarpley, the guy for the Mavericks. I'm positive.
He's 7 feet fucking tall.
How would you know? Yeah, he's huge, and he showed up in his game gear. So he's still wearing number 40. Is that his number 40?
He's still wearing court goggles on his face. Like, you can't miss it. Plus, he's, again, 7 feet tall. Right. It's either him or David Robinson. It's one or the other, and I don't think it was Robinson. We'll just put it that way. I love it. He doesn't wear goggles. So the police here, or the investigator, said, quote, "We never targeted Tarpley. He just came in as a result of the investigation."
Yeah.
So he ends up being suspended from the NBA indefinitely after this for a, quote, unspecified violation of the league's anti-drug policy,
which is failing doing drugs.
For cocaine. Well, they heard about that and sprung some coke tests on him, and he failed them.
Okay.
So that's what ended up happening.
Unspecified. There's not much you need to specify. If it's a violation of the drug policy, they did a drug that you don't want them to do.
Yeah, and the owner of the team, one of the God Squad here, says, quote, "This is the first time I've ever heard of this at all. I don't know anything about this.
What's cocaine?
What's going on here?"
No, I mean, this is the first time I've heard of What is that? I don't know what that is.
Shit, if someone could tell me, maybe I'll go to one of those rookie symposiums and we can talk about it here. Maybe that's what we have to do here. So he'd been under the league restrictions. He'd undergone regular drug testing and was recently accompanied by a drug counselor on a 10-day road trip.
Oh, boy.
So he's had help. He hasn't been out on his own here. He said in August he had said that he had his dependency beaten. He said, quote, "I feel a lot better about it now. I have no problems with it at all." One informant said he sold Tarpley cocaine at least 3 times.
Yeah.
The others pretty much said the same thing here. This year, so he only plays in 19 games this year because he spent 49 days at a rehab clinic after that. He leaves the team in January of 89.
Right.
And that's strike 2, mind you. So understand that part. He returns April 12th, 89. He was still unavailable for comment. They weren't letting him talk to people yet here.
But don't worry. His statement would just be, "I'm good now.
I'm fine. Right. I've got it under control. Yeah. Everything's good. It was a slip up. I don't know what happened, but I think it might have been a faulty test."
Right.
You never can tell with these things, but I take the suspension like a man because I don't want to make waves for my teammates because I'm a team guy. Yeah. So
so ridiculous.
Last 6 games of the season, he averages 22.7 points and 13.3 rebounds. So has a great end of the season here. Ends up playing in 19 games that year. He makes $560K.
Jesus.
That'll buy you a lot of coke anyway, so that's helpful. Now, 89-90 season, Coach John McLeod is fired after the first 11 games. He was 5-6. He's replaced by Richie Abudato. On October 27th, 1989, Roy misses a morning practice and does not contact the team until that night.
Oh, boy.
So he explains it's fine, though.
He missed the practice in the morning then calls in the afternoon.
No, not in the afternoon.
In the evening.
In the night.
Right.
And he says that he overslept.
Yeah.
For 12 hours.
I just woke up, guys.
It was really... I
realized I set my alarm for 10:40 p.m.
It's strange. I watched Law & Order rerun. I watched that, on TNT or whatever. I got that in USA. Sorry, I got that in, and I fell asleep. It was like 10:45. I didn't even see if they got him or not. I assume they did. It's Law & Order, but I didn't get it completely. I wake up. I went to bed 10. I wake up. It is 7 p.m. the next night. I slept for 21 hours.
I can't believe it.
I don't know how I did it.
I must have been so tired.
It's remarkable. Right. I think I feel better now, though. I'm good now.
I'm so rested.
And he says, quote, when he overslept, it's all good. And he says, quote, "You're going to see a new Roy Tarpley now." So, new man.
I slept almost an entire fucking day. I'll never sleep again.
I'm good. Right. I'm good for like 3 months now, especially with all the cocaine I'm doing. Right. That sounds like I came off a bender, and I really
and then I was just tired. So, I crashed so hard.
November 1989, he does not show up at a practice, and the Mavericks send their special assignments coach to see where he is.
Oh, boy.
Now, this guy is the babysitter.
Yeah.
His name is Clifford Ray at this point. He has the shittiest job ever.
Honestly.
A grown man doesn't show up for work. You go find him like he's a truant 12-year-old.
You go bang on doors.
This is ridiculous.
And find a 6'11" man.
And he would, too. He'd go to places where he was a regular. He'd go to bars. He'd go to restaurants, nightclubs, places where there's booze, places where he might be, that sort of thing.
Mark Aguirre's house,
another bar.
Right.
He said that's where he'd find him all the time. He was just a big, goofy teenager. And he says, why does he go to bars? Tarpley says, because I'm 24 years old, I like to hang out. That's where the girls are.
Because it's legal.
Plus, that's where the women are.
Right.
And if you're hanging out with all your teammates, we're going to go check out the ladies later and all that shit. And he's like, all right, what else am I going to do? That's where everybody hangs out in the NBA. They don't go out to dinner and go home. They go to bars and strip clubs and shit. Have you ever met an NBA player?
You don't go to the library for a girl. You don't go to the grocery store for a girl. When you're an NBA player,
you don't.
You go where the nightlife is.
You go there and
where the loose women are.
They hook you up. They give you a nice booth.
Right.
They fucking set you up.
You impress the pants off her, then you get in those pants.
Send shit over. So, November 15th, 1989, he's got a problem. He's arrested for DUI and resisting arrest.
Oh, Jesus.
So this is a fun one here.
And he didn't want to get arrested.
When he's drunk and cops want to talk to him, he doesn't necessarily want to have a conversation with them. He does this several times.
He's had enough already.
He's got some good quotes to the cops later, too, which are really, really funny. He said that they said that he was tailgating another vehicle at 70 miles an hour.
Jesus.
And he was stopped. When they tried to question him, he pulled away from a female officer and took a swing at another officer.
I don't think you can do that.
They said that's one of those things that's frowned upon. They took a swing. He didn't hit anybody, but
especially in Texas.
They said he took a lackluster swing at somebody, like, oh, motherfucker, I'll take a swat at you. And he was drunk. It was like a half-assed, like, do I really want to punch a cop?
Right.
If I hit him, do I want to knock him out, really, probably, and get shot by the other one? Probably
his brain just told his arm, move right now. That's all it was.
But not too far.
No,
not too
fast. Right.
We're not sure about this.
Also, he's lucky it's not 2018, because he'll get shot for that shit.
Especially in Texas.
That big of a dude?
Oh, huge. Yeah, they
terrifying of fucking.
They probably knew who he was.
Texas State Ranger.
They were like, we can't kill a Maverick. I don't think that's okay. That's probably not good. It's November. The Cowboys suck this year because they were terrible that year. I mean, we need a distraction. We can't shoot this guy. It's going to be awful. They said it took numerous officers to make the arrest.
Yeah.
He was taken to Lou Sterrett Justice Center and booked on the 2 charges.
Lou Sterrett.
Lou Sterrett. He was released on bail. So, he's charged with DUI, resisting arrest for the traffic stop here. Also, improper lane change he was ticketed for, and failure to have his driver's license and proof of insurance on him.
He was driving like a dickhead.
He was driving like a complete dickhead. November 17th, 1989, he is suspended indefinitely by the team.
Oh, fuck, that's strike 3?
That's not strike 3, necessarily, because he didn't fail a test.
Oh, good point.
He was out there. So
but he's going to have to, right?
There's a gray area.
The DUI
here.
doesn't get you a failed test?
It does. It's a different thing, and they talk about it too. They end up adjusting the program later on
because of him.
Amazing. And because of a couple other people too.
All right.
I think Lewis Lloyd was involved in that deal too. It's the aftercare program. People are interested in this. They're worried about it, and it says under NBA rules, the counselors at an aftercare program can order a player suspended if he violates the agreement of the program, which he did by doing that. So they recommend he be suspended. The head of this whole thing, the Dr. David Lewis, said that he'd be suspended without pay, quote, until we can sort everything out. We need to sort shit out. We don't know what to do with this asshole. Team officials said that his future would be determined by the result they received from his Monday drug test. They said they were to administer a test late Friday, one of the 2 or 3 regular ones that he's taken, and basically the third strike could result in an automatic 2-year suspension, which is basically a banishment, and then you'd have to apply for reinstatement, all that sort of thing. The Mavericks also levied Tarpley a $250 fine for missing practice. Tarpley was not available for comment, shockingly enough.
He was at his drug dealer's house.
Probably, more than likely. Sanju, God Squad guy here, said that Tarpley told him he'd been out late Thursday night and just simply overslept.
Yeah.
He
was busy with the gospel.
Well, he had to do that. Clifford Ray found Tarpley at his home late Friday afternoon. The special assignment guy, like, Jesus, we're going to knock on this fucking idiot's door. Perfect here. Now, April 9th, 1990, 2 days later, he tests negative for drugs and alcohol and will return to action after only 2 games.
Yeah, 2 days later.
All that's for 2 games.
Yeah.
Tarpley says, quote, I feel really bad about this. I need to work on being a responsible person. I should have been at practice. I should have called. I paid a price, and now I'm glad it's over. I said I didn't take drugs, and I didn't. I'm excited about getting back with the team. Now, it was like a few days later, so he might have taken drugs.
Right.
Coke gets out of your system pretty goddamn.
That's the thing about booze and Coke.
Yeah, he picked 2 things that if you disappear for a few days, as we know, like Steve Howe would be like, well, in between tests, I could go on a bender, and then I'd have enough time.
Drink a bunch of water, run a couple of miles, I'm fine.
Yeah, this he had given Roy gave the whoever they are, the doctors in this program, permission to release to report the levels of to report his medical shit, basically. Okay. Normally they say we don't release medical things to the media,
right?
But he said to tell you that he didn't do drugs. So
that's nice.
He didn't do drugs, they said. So that year he plays in 45 games, starts 35, 36.6 minutes a game, 16.8 points, 13.1 rebounds, 1.5 assists, 1.6 blocks, and 1.8 steals even. So on the court, he does great, and then he gets suspended and acts like a jerk-off. That has to be frustrating.
Yeah.
Team goes 55-27. They are swept by Portland in the first round of the playoffs.
Oh, boy.
He starts all 3 games, plays 43 minutes a game, 16.7 points, 15.3 rebounds. So he has a monster 3.3 blocks in the playoffs.
That's great.
Monster playoff series.
Per game
in the playoffs. So he's having a tough time. Things are not going well.
No.
So what should he do?
Absolutely have a kid.
Absolutely get married. And he's going to do that because right now I feel like his decision making is at top level right now. It's not going to get any better than this, I feel like. So you might as well get married. In July 90, he marries Dawn Celestia Finley.
Yeah.
She will suffer for a few years. 90-91 season, November of 1990, he suffers a season-ending knee injury.
Uh-oh.
And he gets a DUI.
Oh, boy.
So he's having a tough time here.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that DUI in a second here. He only plays in 5 games, averages 20.4 points and 11 rebounds, so that's great. Team goes 28-54. He makes $765,000 that year.
Wow.
Which isn't too bad to sit on the bench and have a problem.
And only win 28 games.
And that you caused nothing.
Oh, my God.
March 31st, 91 is when he's arrested on suspicion of drunk driving. They observed Tarpley in his 88 Mercedes-Benz traveling 63 miles an hour in a 35 at 1 a.m., which will draw attention.
Right.
That does that. They pulled him over. He appeared to be drunk, refused to take a breathalyzer test or be handcuffed.
Oh, boy.
That you can't refuse that if they want to cuff you.
Right.
They said here, Spencer, this officer, said, quote, Tarpley did not want to be handcuffed and indicated he would get physical. Quote, he indicated
what he said was, I'll fuck you pigs up.
Exactly what he said. Quote, he indicated he would beat the officers and told them if they wanted to handcuff him to, quote, call an army. So he is talking some shit on the side of the road. So then they did call an army.
Yeah.
They called in 9 cops.
They'll do that.
And then he surrendered without resistance. Once they said, he goes, oh, that's what I meant. I wanted an army. You did it. So, now I'll surrender.
So, go ahead and cuff away.
I just wanted attention. I wanted 9 people here for it.
That's awesome.
I didn't say you'd need 9 guys. I just said I wanted to.
I just said I wanted to see them.
I wanted to see 9 guys. I appreciate that.
I didn't believe you had them.
I didn't think you had 9 guys, but apparently you do. Good for you guys. That's good.
That's great.
He posted a $200 bond on the charge of investigation of drinking while intoxicated. If convicted, he could face between 15 days and 2 years in prison and a fine of up to $2,000.
Fuck.
This is a second-time deal, so the fine, everything's a little bit stiffer.
Yeah.
His refusal to take a blood alcohol content test also could cost him a 90-day suspension of his driver's license automatically.
Really?
And drinking alcoholic beverages would be a violation of his aftercare program with the NBA, but it doesn't necessarily get him a 3rd strike, as we know from last time. His attorney said that that Tarpley requested a blood test while incarcerated, but was refused. They said they refused to test his blood.
He asked for it.
Meanwhile, the cops say that they asked him for a blood test and he refused. Okay. So that's what ends up going on here. It's a he said, she said. I believe the cops would take the blood if you offer it to them. Let's just say.
If you say you can have it, it'll make your case easier.
Let's jack a needle in that guy's arm real quick and figure this shit out.
What do you guys say you find a phlebotomist for us?
There's got to be somebody who fucking, somebody who saw a commercial at 2 a.m. and went to school for a 3-month program and is now can draw his blood. There has to be somebody like that out there.
Let's get somebody around.
Sorry, phlebotomists out there, but that's how you got your deal. That's how you did it. 2 a.m. Now,
if you bruise somebody, you're getting sued.
Yeah. The Mavericks GM here, Sanju, said, quote, "We care very much for Roy. We also respect the job the police have to do. We are confident the police will conduct a fair and thorough investigation. We are not qualified to comment further until the investigation is complete."
Okay.
In other words, my hair is super silver and I don't want to get involved here.
Listen, this guy puts a lot of asses in seats.
Yeah. He ends up admitting to team officials that he had 3 beers before his arrest that weekend, which he's not allowed to have any beers. Right. He's already, as we know, injured. There's only 10 games left in the season at this point, but he said that they're talking about his suspension of pay. He reportedly earned $765,000 a year, which is $63,750 a month. Wow. And he'll be suspended based with no pay out of this if he is suspended. Now, here's worse reason. So far, it's been DUIs and self-destructive shit.
Right.
We talk about asshole or idiot all the time. Right. That's our thing. Is this asshole or idiot?
Right.
So far, this has been total idiot behavior.
No doubt.
Self-destructive. I mean, he's fucking over a team.
Right.
But I mean, so what? A lot of guys are fucking over teams. There's guys out there slacking. I mean, who knows? But
every day.
Now, on May 6th, 1991, things take a different turn. A 30-year-old woman from Irving, Texas, who isn't his wife, by the way, called police from his apartment in the middle of the night on a Sunday morning and told them that that Roy had beaten her. She said she later got medical assistance in the parking lot later on. She had a dislocated right shoulder and bruises on her back and neck. She was taken to Herman Hospital for treatment and later released. The police report said that the victim said she didn't want to press charges because she believed Tarpley would, quote, cause her greater harm if arrested.
That's greater harm?
Greater harm.
Oh my God, she's got a dislocated fucking shoulder.
That's how scared of him she is.
That is a beating.
That is ridiculously scared of someone because he must be a monster. Who knows what he's like behind closed doors.
That's like slammed on the ground or on an object, right? Because you can't punch somebody's shoulder dislocated.
He might have. If you're 7 foot tall, 240 pounds, you might be able to yank a woman's arm out of its socket.
Oh, and that's another thing. Too. Yeah, if you're trying to flick her around.
Yeah, he might have said, "Come over here," and yanked her and tore it right out of the socket. Like that's what happens with like 3-year-olds,
right?
Because adults are so much bigger than them. Like giants are bigger than normal people. Yeah, she could be 5'3", 110 pounds. Right. He could be twice her size. I mean, that's crazy. So, she was scared, but he's arrested anyway because the officers are, making an arrest if there's any visible evidence of anything.
Yeah.
They have to arrest everybody, or
and
at
she's
least
a
him.
Dislocated fucking shoulder.
That's enough, I would say, for that here. Now, Tarpley, like we said, was just married a few months ago, but that doesn't matter. He's arrested without incident. He's released on a $500 bond. If convicted of the misdemeanor charge, he could face up to 1 year in jail and a $2,000 fine.
And a wife with a lot of fucking questions.
Oh, she's got to be pissed.
Oh, boy.
This is the tip of the iceberg.
This is the worst door that you want to open at 3 o'clock in the morning.
I would say, hey,
where
baby,
have you been?
Calling her up in the... But it's always Mark Aguirre he calls to bail him out of jail. It's true. Mark Aguirre bails him out of jail all the time later on. His whole life, Mark Aguirre is his 3 a.m. phone call.
Amazing.
Aguirre needs to put his phone on airplane mode. Because he knows at some point, fuck, Roy's going to call me at 2 in the morning with a problem.
Goddamn Roy again.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. I'm going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
a big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud,
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
And now, back to the show.
So now, August 1991, assault charges against him are dropped because the woman he was accused of beating refused to cooperate with prosecutors. And so the judge agreed with recommendations from prosecutors that they had no case to prosecute, that she wouldn't cooperate.
Yeah, if there's no witness.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
September 5th, 1991, at DWI court, a series of eyewitnesses testified in his DUI trial that he did not appear intoxicated at the time of his arrest in March. This includes a former police clerk, so he's gone by now, but who was leaving the county jail as Tarpley was being brought in. He said that he did not smell alcohol on Tarpley as he passed by Tarpley, which, I mean, who knows, and that Tarpley wasn't staggering. What doesn't mean he didn't have anything in it. He said he had 3 beers, which is he wouldn't be drunk or staggering.
This guy's a bad detective.
Yeah. Well, he's a police clerk, so he's not a detective.
Right.
Additional witnesses said that Tarpley appeared sober to them. Police testified that they stopped him doing 60 and 35, like we said. There's also was a videotape of Tarpley as he's being given a sobriety test in the county jail of failing the sobriety test, and also him on the tape. It's him refusing the police to administer a blood test. So him and his lawyer lied about that one. They also said that they're calling up just weird things. They said that Tarpley's car was driven to the county jail after his arrest rather than being impounded, which is normally the case.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he was like, hey, man, I don't know why the cops are doing him any favors after he threatened to beat them up, but
yeah, I mean, maybe somebody had a bet on them covering. Who knows?
Maybe he's going to need his car
at this point.
Either way, the jury acquits him of
Really?
the drunk driving charge, and the judge denies a prosecutor's motion to revoke his probation.
Holy shit!
So he gets the last 2 weeks. He just wins everything. Wow. He's fine. Everything's fine here. He could have been sentenced to a year in jail out of this whole thing, and for the DUI, he could have had 2 years in prison. So lucky as shit. He says at this point, legal problems are over.
Okay.
He says, quote, I learned a lot. I've had butterflies at the free throw line with no seconds left, but now I've had butterflies in court. I'm ready to get on with my life. I'm good now.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate, hey.
For sure.
Behind me, don't know what I was thinking.
What booze?
Shit happens, but man, cocaine, I don't even know what it smells like. No fucking idea. No idea what that smells like. So the team said they were happy with his acquittal, but they were unsure how it would affect his playing status here. October 16th, 1991, he is suspended for refusing to take a drug test.
Oh, boy.
So not great. That is a bad thing here. January 5th, 1992, he's suspended. He does an interview saying that he had money to burn and he couldn't stop partying. He says, in their own words, quote, I guess once I got a hold of a lot of money, I thought I could just party, stop, and do the job. It didn't work out that way. I just kept partying. As soon as I got a hold of a lot of money, my decision-making went all out of whack. In the end, I just say that I tried to be hip, slick, and cool and get high on the sly. I love basketball. I want to play. So his wife, though, this is hilarious, too.
Oh, I can't wait for this.
His wife, Dawn, despite all of his problems here, says, quote, Magic Johnson has an incurable disease and everyone seems supportive and sympathetic. Roy Tarpley has an incurable disease and everyone who doesn't know him looks at him like he's the scum of the earth.
Wow.
Let's not compare AIDS and alcohol. I get it. You know what? I get it. And we're not going to argue whether alcoholism is this or that.
Right.
It's not AIDS. Can we all agree that it's not HIV? I think that's different.
Here's the thing.
Those are different things.
If Roy doesn't do anything, he'll be okay. He can wake up tomorrow and he won't have liquid shits.
No.
And he won't have bruises all over him for no reason. Magic wakes up and doesn't take his medicine. He's in fucking trouble.
Yeah. Well, maybe not now. Who knows what the hell he's doing now? He has had some weird rich person.
He somehow owns a fucking baseball team. How do you do that?
He ends up with a base.
He's the most successful AIDS-riddled person ever.
In 1991, when he retired because he said he had AIDS, and back then if someone had HIV, you were like, oh, he's going to be dead in like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
He could be dead before the end of this speech.
It could be full-blown AIDS before they say it's not full-blown AIDS.
Yeah. Would you say in 25 years that guy's going to own the Dodgers? You'd be like, first of all, he won't be alive in 25 years.
In 25 years, we're going to be paying our respects to a rock on the ground.
And you'd be saying he's a basketball player,
right.
Remember? Why would he own a baseball team, moron?
Did you guys forget he played with Kurt Rambis?
Oh, yeah, and Trump will be president. Fuck you. Fuck out of here. Magic John? Yeah, okay, sure. All right, whatever. So,
fantastic.
So general manager Sunju here, this guy is as silver as it comes.
Unbelievable. I can't believe they got so many quotes from him.
He says he understands what Roy Tarpley's wife is saying and sort of agrees with her. He says, quote, if you're saying Roy Tarpley's a bad person, you don't know Roy Tarpley. I can talk about bad people in the NBA from now until tomorrow, and Roy Tarpley's not one of them. Damn it, because I own him.
Right, exactly.
Silver. See this hair?
Because my ticket sales depend on him.
That's right, goddammit. February 28th, 1992, he's sniffing around the CBA, the Continental Basketball Association, that we've dealt with pretty much every NBA player we've dealt with.
Truly.
If you fail out of the NBA, it doesn't matter how big of a fuck up you are, who you've wronged, what you've done, you're going to end up in the CBA. Now, he says that he's not ready to play yet. One of the coaches there for the Wichita Falls Texans said, quote, I talked to Roy this morning in Houston. He said he was the Wichita Falls Texans. He says he was not ready to play in the CBA just right now. Sounds like a powerhouse of a team, doesn't it? Oh, don't worry. We'll talk about the Wichita Falls Texans.
All right.
You know how I love defunct, shitty, weird teams, so we're going to talk about that
Is
shit.
Wichita Falls in Texas?
Apparently so.
That's fascinating.
It'd be weird if it was in Oklahoma and they called them the Texans. That'd be very strange.
Or Kansas.
Yeah, that'd be very weird here. Now, John Lucas is an ex-NBA player who's also a recovering addict who does... He owns. He bought a USBL team, United States Basketball League team, basically to have it be an extension of aftercare for NBA players who have fucked up, basically, so he can bring them in there. And it's remarkable how many players are on his team. He ends up with Richard Dumas,
really,
the ex-Suns player,
who's
really
a scumbag
good, and was a piece of shit.
Yeah, stealing from the fucking from the Air Force base.
Nice guy, real good guy,
great dude.
So he said that he's Tarpley told Lucas that he wasn't ready to play yet, but that Lucas told him that you have to jump off the cliff at some point. If you won't jump off, I'll jump off with you. So that sort of thing. He's trying to help him. Now they end up both signing. Dumas and Tarpley end up signing there with the Wichita Falls Texans. So that's amazing here. The Wichita Falls Texans were
hilarious.
A continental basketball team here. They were located in Wichita Falls, Texas. They played their games at the D.L. Ligon Coliseum, located on the campus of Midwestern State University, which sounds completely made up.
That's terrible.
That sounds like a sitcom's bad made up college from the team. Like, I go to Midwestern State, and you're like, that's funny. They end up winning the CBA championship in 91.
Really?
The team ended up relocating to Chicago in 94 and becoming the Chicago Rockers. So that wasn't great for it here. And they ended up also relocating to La Crosse, Wisconsin the next year, becoming the Bobcats, and then folding completely. So I love these piece of shit defunct teams.
That's
They're fantastic.
So depressing.
March 11th, 1992, he makes his debut for Wichita, scores 18 points and has 16 rebounds in his debut here. Not bad at all. Shit, the Texans, they end up losing the game to Tri-City that night, though. You know the powerhouse Tri-City was back then, Jimmy.
Yeah.
How you gonna do that?
What wash-ups were playing for them?
I don't know Tri-City off the top of my head here. Now, April 9th, 1992, he is talking about the Miami Tropics of the USBL, which is John Lucas's team here. It's one of 9 teams there. The salaries, you get about $300 a week there, which is an 8-week schedule. They play in spring and through early summer.
You're making $2,400.
Pretty much, yeah. You're not doing.
Holy shit!
You're not doing well here. Basically,
wow.
It's just you go there and hopefully an NBA team will be able to send a scout there and look at you and go, well, he doesn't look like he's on coke, and I saw him dunk, so things are going well here.
$2,400.
That's it. Like I said, Lucas said he bought it as an extension of aftercare, is the way he put it.
Yeah.
Also on this Tropics team is Chris Washburn,
really?
A top 10 draft pick from the 86 draft here. They said at one point he's in Bermuda shorts on the bench. He was way too fat to even play in the USBL, which is saying something. He said, quote, now that I'm not doing cocaine, I'm always in somebody's refrigerator.
Oh, boy.
That's what Washburn said, so he's just a fat fuck here. The team is paying his legal expenses for him, this John Lucas guy, apparently. He has a 3-year sentence for possession of narcotics paraphernalia, and Lucas is paying for all his appeals, which is nice of him. He said that he's traded in his cocaine addiction for candy bars and cigarettes, which I don't know how great that is.
I don't know. That's a pretty good
It's better than cocaine.
Yeah.
I mean, your heart's not going to explode on the spot anyway. Eventually. Now, May 16th, 1992 is his USBL debut, and he's ejected in the first game.
Wow.
They're testing him. There's some trash talking from a guy, and the guy spits at Tarpley, apparently, and Tarpley threw another, quote, half-hearted swing at him.
Jesus.
His punches, he doesn't throw with conviction.
He doesn't mean it.
He's just like, nah. He's like Roger on American Dad.
Right.
He like knocks shit off a desk and he goes, nah, and he just knocks it down. That's what he does. Nah, get away from me. He had 21 points when he was left the game. He said he was pissed off that he was being bumped around but not getting any fouls. He said, quote, I'll have to adjust to that. It wasn't the greatest debut, but there's always tomorrow. No, in the greatest debut, you don't get thrown out of the game.
No, the greatest debut, you're the highest scorer in the fucking game.
Yeah, definitely. So he's the big deal for the Tropics, man, while he's under suspension. They said he can reapply for reinstatement into the NBA in 1993.
Okay.
He says that, quote, I'm tired of the humiliation. It's not easy walking in here and into an empty high school gym. So he says it's not great. He said he's been spit on and punched, and people have been shitty to him, and they call him names, and they fuck with him. And it's like, because they're making fun of you because you got tossed out of the league, and now you're playing in a high school gym, you dumb fuck.
And you're getting tossed out of the very first game.
The first one. For throwing a shit. But you didn't even sock him and be like, damn, Tarpley ain't taking any shit.
Right.
They were like, was that a punch? What was that? Just flail his arm up in the air? By the end of the year, he's got a league-leading 30.6 points a game and 16.7 rebounds.
There you go.
So he's dominating.
Yeah.
On May 31st, in a game, he scored 26 points and had 28 rebounds.
Wow.
Which is fucking amazing, against the New Haven Skyhawks, which are, a force, too. You got to understand.
Sure.
The legacy of the Skyhawks.
It's all white, too.
Are huge. Probably. We've talked about the Skyhawks. We've talked about all these teams before, which is so funny. Richard Dumas also had 26 points in that game.
Wow.
The Tropics go all the way to the championship game.
Of course they do.
Where they beat the Philadelphia Spirits 116-114. So that's another championship. He won the championship the year before.
Yeah.
Where he goes, there's titles here. He's also the USBL MVP that year.
When there's no other players that are good at this sport, he's really good at this sport.
Yeah, he's 7 feet tall, and he's a good player. July 3rd, 92, he signs a 2-year contract to play in Greece with Aris Salonika.
Okay.
He says, quote, it's a new start for me in Europe, and I want to succeed. The contract's worth $1.25 million.
Wow.
Not bad. It includes a free apartment, a car, and airline tickets for unspecified number of trips home.
And the highest
it's a great deal
that he's gotten so far.
Not bad. Yeah, that's great. I'll go play in Greece for that kind of fucking money. Jesus Christ, that sounds amazing. Like I said, he's still under suspension. In this season, he wins the European-wide second-tier level FIBA European Cup.
Whatever that is.
With Sato Aris of Greece the next year against the Turkish Super League club Efes Pilsen.
whatever that is.
This was not easy shit to find, by the way.
Yeah, I'm sure.
The tournament's final took place in Turin. He's the FIBA Saporta Cup Finals top scorer.
Okay.
He has 25.6 points a game and 14.9 rebounds, so not bad. By the way, for that season, Dallas still pays him $80,000.
Wow.
They still have to pay him $80,000. There's some kind of weird stipend thing with a suspension where they still have to pay him something.
And he's getting paid from this team.
And he's got $1.2 million in a free apartment and car. 94, he plays with Olympiakos BS Piraeus in Greece, another team. Averages 36.6 minutes a game and 20.9 points a game, 12.8 rebounds. He leads the league in total rebounds. They end up winning the Greek League and the Greek Cup that year again. So where he goes, he wins. Yeah. He's a winner. And even later on, they will show a stat where teams that he's on when he's playing and when he's not, and it's like they have like a 350 winning percentage without him and like a 600 with him. It's crazy.
Important.
He makes a fucking difference. He's one of those guys. He's a good player. He's not worthless. That sort of thing here. So Dallas again paying him $80,000 for that season.
God, that's incredible.
Summer of 1994, he's sick for like 3 weeks with pancreatitis. He's got a problem. He's very sick. He's kind of weak that summer. September 30th, 94, NBA reinstates him.
Okay.
So Roy's back.
Yeah.
October of 1994, Dallas takes him back before the season. Now, he's been out for a couple years. He's been over in Greece playing. He's been dominating some shit Florida team. He's been doing his thing, getting around. But what do you sign? Let's take a flyer on the guy. Give him like a $1.3 million 1-year deal and see how he does.
Think it's that high?
No. Okay. Dallas, I know how high it is.
All right.
Dallas said, no, let's lock him down. He's a very dependable guy that we can count on. So let's sign him to a 6-year, $25.8 million contract.
What the fuck?
Let's give the guy with a coke problem and no self-control $26 million.
Oh, my God.
A 6-year fucking commitment.
Oh, my God.
But part of it is if he's suspended for drugs, then the contract's void. So it's not really that great of a risk. Although he hasn't played in the league in a couple of years, and you don't know if he's still going to be a $26 million player. But it's worth a chance, I guess.
Also, you know that he does do drugs, so he's going to fuck this up.
Especially with that much money.
Right.
A 94-95 season, Dick Motta's back.
Oh, boy.
He got fired, and then years later he comes back for some reason here. This is the teams here where they had Jim Jackson and Jason Kidd and Jamal Mashburn and George McLeod.
Okay.
And this was an exciting Dallas team, actually. A bunch of young players.
Yeah.
Tarpley says, deep down inside, I knew I'd be back. I wasn't real vocal about it, but I talked with my family and some close friends only. I know a lot of people are saying they should never let him back. Well, why not? He says, I paid my dues. I made a mistake. Should I pay forever? I had determination and desire about this. I wanted to show people and I wanted to show myself. So he wants to show everybody what he can do. Okay. Motta says, we know the history of drug defenders is not great. They say you're off. They say, God, this is amazing. This is such like old school thing. They say you're still one sniff or snort away from oblivion. Boy. And he brings that back, the oblivion thing. So the jury still has to be out on him, but I don't think we have any illusions. No. A few years ago, he would have been the center of attraction on this team, but then he talks about how they have all these young players, and he says, we're not expecting that much and not depending on him that much. Then why are you paying him $26 million for?
That's so much money.
Quote, he's not going to break our hearts again. At this point, too, he's being counseled by Hollywood Henderson. So what could go fucking wrong? He arrives at camp. They realized he had pancreatitis, and so they were expecting him to not be in perfect shape, but he's completely out of shape, which is a problem.
Yeah.
They're not happy with. Now, late October 1994, this is in training camp after he just signed a $26 million deal.
Yeah.
His car is found wrapped around a telephone pole.
Oh, fuck.
But he's not in it, and no one's to be found anywhere near it.
Perfect.
It was found wrecked and abandoned in North Dallas. They confirm this. He says they told him that they found him the next day, and he says that he loaned the car to a friend.
Right.
And he already talked to the Mavericks about the incident. They said, quote, the car was discovered around 4 a.m. and we got 2 anonymous calls that the car had been wrecked. We don't know who was behind the wheel. He says that his friend, who we couldn't identify, he wouldn't identify him, did leave the scene of the accident, but he later called police, so it's okay.
I got a pretty good guess who was behind the wheel.
Tarpley said he spent the night at a hotel and he had no idea what was going on, not involved in the incident. And everybody believed him kind of until they came out with, oh, by the way, an hour before this wreck, he got a speeding ticket going 92 miles an hour. In what car? That car.
Oh, boy.
So unless in that hour he then passed it off to one of his friends who wrapped it around a pole, chances are he was driving 92 miles an hour and wrapped it around a fucking pole.
Right.
At least he wasn't drunk. So let's give him some credit there. Yay, Roy. Good job, buddy. You did it. You did it, big guy. He's having problems now. So he's suspended without pay for insubordination here for a halftime fight with Dick Motta. Mm-hmm. He's all pissed off here. Motta,
he's yelling at the coach.
Yeah, they got into a fight there.
Wow.
I guess he said he got pulled out of the game and he was pissed off at it and complained loudly as he walked to the bench. And at halftime, the coach said he was suspended. He just told him, "You're suspended." So Tarpley said, quote, "He tried to kick me out of the locker room." He was just shocked and pissed off here. January 6th, 1995, the Mavericks were concerned that he had abnormally hyper behavior before a January 6th game against the Pacers, and they were worried it was linked to drug use.
He had what?
Abnormally hyper behavior.
Okay.
That's how closely they're looking at him.
Yeah.
He says that he's in full compliance with the aftercare program. His agent says, quote, "It's no secret Roy has mood swings, but he's had no major glitches. The guy fuels speculation just by being in a good mood."
Okay.
Like, he comes in happy and like he had a good night's sleep, and you guys are fucking drug testing him. You guys are yanking piss out of his body. What's going on here?
I mean, he's got a record for this stuff. Like, that's what you do.
That's why they're like, oh shit, is he on drugs? Right. He seems happy. Tarpley says, quote, "I have good days and bad days like everybody else, but I'm nothing like I used to be when I was using the drugs. The drugs. I love how he talks like an old man too. He spends too much time with Dick Motta here.
Right.
Now, January 16th, 1995, he says that he's not a role model. Now he's not a role model anymore. Before he couldn't. We got off on it before. His whole inside of his car was sticky for people recognizing him out on the street. Now he's changed his mind. He has advice for the kids, and he says, quote, "If any kid thinks he wants to be like Roy Tarpley, think again. It ain't easy being me. Around every corner is trouble. Whether I'm looking for it or not, I'm always treated with double standards. I've got to walk the line straighter than the next guy, and that's not fair." Well, it kind of is, actually, because you had a couple chances, too, where you didn't have to walk that line, and now you do. Everyone else has those same chances. If they fuck up twice, they got to walk a pretty fucking straight line after that. Jesus Christ. He said he's super disenchanted about Dallas. He wants out of Dallas. He doesn't think this is working anymore.
Well, it's also, he has too many friends there already.
That's the thing.
He's never going to be clean.
All his coke connections are there.
When he can get anything he wants.
He says, quote, "I'd like to stay here, but I don't see it happening. It seems like they think I'm a bad influence and I'm putting too much peer pressure on the younger guys. I hear there are talks about me behind closed doors almost every day. I'm not stupid. I doubt if all those meetings are positive. I'll always live in Dallas, and I'd like to be a part of this growing team. But if they make me leave, believe me, there will be no love lost."
If they make me leave.
Fuck them, is what he's saying here. He said he was pissed off from the minimal feedback from his coach, and he says he's going to approach the Mavericks after the season to find out exactly where he stands, goddammit. Okay. He's pissed off. He says he's proud of how far he's come back and cleaned up his life and how much he's contributed to the team, but he's never going to satisfy the fans and media in Dallas. It seems like they're all just waiting for him to fail so they can come running and say, "I told you so."
Right.
He said, "That's what I was talking about when I said I was afraid to come back last summer. Even then, I don't think it was going to be this bad. I mean, if I don't act exactly the way people think I should, it makes headlines. Please, I've learned to become a couch potato." That's okay. All I can do is be me, and God knows I'm not perfect. He says he's about 75% physically. He has his faults like everybody else, but he's good now. He's fine. Right. Everything is fine. Until January 1995.
Wow.
There's an incident here.
That was fast.
A reporter, Richie Witt, has an interesting run-in before the game with him. Yeah. He says that he walked into the Mavs locker room at Reunion Arena, and he was talking to Jason Kidd and Jim Jackson and Jamal Mashburn and the coach. He said as he turns to leave, there's Tarpley. And this guy's name is Richie Witt. He says Tarpley's standing in his locker, arms out, stark naked. Which is bringing back J.R. Ryder.
That's terrifying.
J.R. Ryder memories now. Right. They said he was swaying and half slurring and screaming. So he's shit-faced in the locker room with his dick swinging around. Which I'm frightened right there.
No,
Bad enough that his giant cock is around.
This is hilarious.
I'm a little worried if I'm this guy. This guy yells, quote, "Richie shit. Richie shit. This is what Tarpley's yelling at him. Richie shit, because his name's Richie Witt. You little fucker. I don't give a shit what you write. You know why? Because you know what I'm going to do. I'm going into my backyard and I'm going to pee into that lake. I'm going to water it back and forth like a big sprinkler. Fill that fucker up. That's what I'm going to do. And you can't do anything to stop me, so fuck you.
Holy shit.
Okay. That's just some drunk shit. He said on the way to the court, this is the reporter, he pulled Mavs owner Don Carter aside and told him that he might want to go visit with Tarpley. But he said 45 minutes later, Tarpley started the game. He said the first pass to him slipped through his hands and went out of bounds. But he said he ended up recovering by later on in the game because he's used to this.
Sure.
55 games that year. One started, 24.6 minutes a game, 2.6 points, 8.2 rebounds, 1.1 assists. And it's December 6th of 1995. He is again thrown out of the league for violating the terms of his aftercare agreement by testing positive for alcohol.
Oh, boy.
This gets the Mavs out of $23 million in salary.
Wow.
$23 fucking million.
That's so much money.
For just to not drink.
Yeah.
23.
That's all he had to do.
That's how much that shit has a hold on people.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
People would, I don't give a shit that the most masculine fucking misogynistic asshole would suck a dick right now in front of all of his kids for $23 million. In front of all of his kids. He'd say, look how daddy juggles the balls, kids. This is how you got to do it to earn that $23 million.
Or one Bud Light.
Or what? Dude. Jesus Christ, man. So, yeah, the team is just pissed. They basically say they're completely done with him. The alcohol results only reported trace amounts, but he's not supposed to be drinking at all. That shows he drank something. He's pissed off. He says, you tell me what's going on here. He said a guy got busted for weed last week, and he said, marijuana isn't a big deal, but alcohol is. This was a bum deal for me to ever come back to Dallas. This whole deal is bull, especially making me lose all that money.
Oh, boy.
You drank. You knew to fucking stop drinking.
And you do and you do drugs, and you get behind the wheel of a car, and you do all kinds of stuff that costs you a lot of money.
Stop drinking for fucking 5 years,
Truly.
and then you can drink all you want, and you'll have millions of fucking dollars to do it.
And you're going to need that booze.
Now, he says, quote, I'm going to walk away and hold my head up. They didn't have to do this to me. I'll just keep doing what I've been doing. I'm in the best shape of my life. The thing I know is I'll never make that kind of money again, but I'm going to make a living. I'm going to be all right. No, he's not.
No.
I'm going to tell you now, no, he's not. He can petition for reinstatement at any time, but the ban is, they're saying it's permanent this time. Yeah. He's embarrassed the league. He's exhausted the considerable patience of the manager of Mavericks management. Middle-aged, silver-haired middle-aged Sanju says, quote, he didn't want to be helped. My best guess, I think he'll continue to drink. I think he'll continue to be in denial and blame everyone else for his problems. I fear for him. So anyway, Tarpley said that the Mavs were the bad guys, and he said, quote, they're out of my contract, which called for $25.8 million over 6 years, and that's what they wanted. I'm going to hang my head high.
That's so much money.
He said, I'm going to hang my head high, which I don't think he got
not how it goes.
That metaphor there.
But $25 million, James, what would you do for that?
Anything.
That's so much money.
Not drink, not breathe. Lop a pinky off. There's a lot I do for $23 million.
Anywhere near that money.
I don't make shit, and I do. People wouldn't do this for what we do it for. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
Fucking what we work, the amount of fucking hours here. So for $23 million,
60 hours a week for $25 million.
I do that for way less than that. So yeah, absolutely.
That's unbelievable.
So he makes $3 million that year, though. So that's a good parting gift. His NBA totals, because he's suspended for done now, 280 games, 57 games started, 26.7 minutes a game, 12.6 points, 10 rebounds even, 1 assist, 1.2 blocks. So he averaged a double-double, which isn't terrible.
Great.
That's not bad here. 1996, he signs in Greece with Herakles, who, Jesus Christ, is a Greek professional team here. They're actually a decent team here. They actually have, at this point in 96, they have Xavier McDaniel, who was a crazy son of a bitch from the NBA.
Giant.
Yeah, the X-Man.
A lunatic. Yeah,
absolutely. They go to the Greek Final Four there that year. Dallas still has to pay him $775,000 for that season for some reason.
Wow.
I don't know how that works. He ended up total making $5,720,000 in the NBA.
Wow.
So not too shabby.
That's a lot of cash.
It's a lot, and he's doing okay in Greece, too. 97, he plays with Herakles again. here. March 18th, 1997, he has some problems. There's a woman here. A woman, Spacek is her last name. She is at her home on Marsh Lane there when Tarpley shows up at her front door yelling and banging on the door.
Drunk as fuck.
Drunk and angry. He's yelling, quote, "Why are you lying to me?" and banging on the door.
Oh, my God.
At least he has clothes on, but still, this sounds dangerous here.
It does.
He entered the front door. He comes in, grabs her by the wrists, and throws her on the couch and begins choking her.
Oh, boy.
So much so that the police said that her throat was visibly swollen when they arrived. That's a choking.
So it's not a good choke.
That's not a good choke. No. It's not for fun, and it's not like
it's not sexual.
And it's not like she made some marks on herself. Right. This was some giant person fucking choked her visibly. They said with his hands wrapped around her neck, she said that he kept yelling, "You're going to take this to your death."
Oh, my God.
So that's a bad thing.
That's terrifying.
Apparently, she breaks free, Spacek, once, but Tarpley catches her and starts choking her again, which seems terrifying. Yeah. She said that she told police that Tarpley was trying to kill her, and that's what she thought. She finally breaks free, squirms away, and runs out of the apartment. Tarpley follows her and tries to drag her back inside.
Oh, my God.
But finally lets her go when two passersby saw him and start talking about it, and then he stops. So she ended up being able to run away from there.
Correct.
The paramedics had to come. Her injuries were severe enough. They treated her, but she wouldn't file charges against him. She claims it's her boyfriend, by the way, still married. And 5 months later, she moves into his apartment.
What the
5 months later, she's like, this relationship's going great. Let's take it to the next level.
You can't do that.
Ridiculous. So September of 1997, she's lived there for a month, and she calls police again.
Of course.
This time, she said Tarpley yanked her out of the back seat of a cab that she was trying to leave their apartment after a fight.
Yeah.
She got a cab. He wasn't through fighting, apparently, because he opened the door, yanked her ass out, and threw her on the ground. She managed to get away and took another taxi to a friend's house where she called the cops. Dallas police found him at home and arrested him again. Cool. But again, no charges filed.
None.
Here. Nothing.
What the fuck?
No fucking charges filed, which is insane.
Shit.
Now, you would hope the reason why they file charges is to maybe just deter next time because the penalties will be more severe.
Also to keep track of the fucking crazies.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. And it also, so if they do it again, it's worse. Like November 19th, 1997, I really would have wished that those two incidents would have been charges filed because here he's fighting with Alicia Spacek again. This is a fight over money that he took from her, apparently.
Oh, my God. He's resorted to stealing from his girlfriends.
This time witnesses here screaming, called the cops. Apparently they've been arguing about money that he took from her. She told police that she was lying on the floor and crying when Tarpley started burning her on the stomach and side with a clothes iron.
Oh, what an asshole.
With a fucking clothes iron.
Oh, my God.
Police said that her burn was at least 6 inches long, but she refused medical treatment for it. Spacek told officers that Tarpley burned her. He put his hand over her mouth and kept telling her to shut up because she was screaming as he was burning her with a fucking iron. Jesus Christ, of course she was screaming.
What a dick.
Police arrived, arrested Tarpley, and they gave Spacek a card that had phone numbers of family violence counselors, which they'd done before, and she had never fucking called. He's been arrested now 3 times for beating the same 23-year-old woman, which is fucking insane.
Ridiculous.
God damn it. On every arrest report, too, he gives his occupation as pro basketball player, but the employer is listed as unknown. I don't know who employs me. Nobody.
One of these days, I'm going to get a paycheck from somebody.
Yeah, right? Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about MyBookie, mybookie.ag.com. If you are thinking about betting, this is the time to do it. And let's talk about the tons and tons of money you can make this week betting at MyBookie. If you haven't checked them out, this is the perfect time to get into the action because March Madness is here. Lay down some money and score big on college hoops. Join thousands of online players and start betting at mybookie.ag. Come join MyBookie today. You win, they pay,
way, fast, and without any hassles. You're wasting your time betting anywhere else. They even have in-game live betting so you can place a bet after tip-off. Join now and MyBookie will match your first deposit with a 50% bonus. You can even enter for a chance to win their $1 Million Bracket Challenge. Use the promo code CRIME to activate the offer. Visit mybookie.ag today, promo code CRIME. Play, win, and get paid. mybookie.ag, promo code CRIME. And now, back to the show. Going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about TrueCar.
TrueCar.com.
What is MSRP?
It's confusing. That's what it is.
It's exactly what it is. If you're looking to buy a car, you're probably familiar with terms like MSRP. You might even know what it stands for, but what does it actually mean? Same goes for invoice, list price, dealer price. It's enough to confuse anybody. All you really want, all you really need is a price that actually means something to you, the buyer. Introducing True Price from TrueCar. Now you can know exactly what you'll pay for the car you want, including fees and accessories, before you even get to the dealership. TrueCar dealers will show you the true price on cars like the one you want, all from the comfort of home. And how do you know if your true price is a great price? Because TrueCar shows you what all the other people paid for the same car you want. And your certified dealers know this, and so they set their true price competitively so they can win your business. So when you're ready to buy a new or used car, great site for used cars. Once you register, you'll see real pricing on actual inventory. This is competitive pricing offered to you only by a TrueCar certified dealer for an actual vehicle on their actual lot. It's pricing you'll see before going to a dealership so you can feel confident when you show up. TrueCar customers are more likely to enjoy a faster buying process when they connect with TrueCar certified dealers, while they save an average of over $3,000 off MSRP.
What a deal.
So let me tell you this from us. When you're ready to buy, visit TrueCar to enjoy a more confident car buying experience. Some features not available in all states.
Yes, that's true. But go to TrueCar.com to find out. And now back to the show.
Now, on top of this, on unrelated cases, they said that they also issued warrants for Tarpley's arrest for unpaid $105 speeding ticket and $162 citation for not appearing in court in connection with the ticket.
As a guy that drives like an asshole, I drive crazy everywhere. There's no way that if I get a ticket, I'm not paying it. There's no way that's going to happen. You got to
do it, Jesus. Yeah. And Denton County also was seeking his arrest on an unrelated aggravated assault charge.
Oh boy,
somewhere else that didn't get reported on here.
That's what he's doing too.
He's been with this woman for 2 years, even though he just got divorced from his wife in July.
Great.
This is a stormy relationship, we'll say. So now he's actually fucking arrested.
Sure.
Now he's actually goddamn arrested.
Finally behind bars.
Finally behind bars for a minute, because they're going to let him go.
Of course.
He's behind bars. He's fucked everything up.
Yeah.
He's fucking blown everything.
Everything.
He's had money. He's had fame. Yeah. He's had support. He got off on the kids liking him.
That's so crazy.
The inside of his car was covered in goo. It was fucking terrible. But he was doing well, and now he's sitting there in jail. They finally release him. You know what I mean? He gets out of fucking jail, and he's like, Jesus Christ, what do I do with myself? You know, he calls up Mark Aguirre.
Yeah.
There's no answer at Mark Aguirre's house, so he goes over there, and he's like,
Mark's
where's Mark?
Enough.
Where's Mark? And he looks out. Mark's not home. But he hears some action going on across the street, and he turns, and he looks on the porch, and it's Estevez Jones, MMA fighter and 70s blaxploitation film villain. And he says... Motherfucker, how is it you come to arrive here? Man, what the fuck is wrong with you, man?
Ridiculous.
No, seriously, man, you a stupid motherfucker. I've been looking back. Now, you had some game. You came out of a shit neighborhood. You got money and shit. I'm like, all right, he knows how to play these motherfuckers. And then you fucking 25 million, motherfucker. Not only would I stop doing cocaine for 25.8 billion, I'll go around and get every motherfucker on earth not to do cocaine.
That's
you understand
real.
that? I will eradicate cocaine from this earth for $25 million. You can't even stop doing it, you stupid ass motherfucker. You a sad motherfucker. You sorry, and I'm rooting against you. I'm just telling you that right now. I'm rooting against you. I don't give a fuck, man. Fuck you.
Publicly roots against him.
Publicly rooting. Estevez Jones going to be at the games going, man, fuck Roy Tarpley, no matter who you play for. I don't give a shit what shit ass team going to hire you for $200 a game. Man, fuck you. Poof. And in a poof of leopard skin and gold chains, he's gone. And
Roy's very confused. He was also angry because he was like, that seems like a guy I could have got coke from, and he disappeared. I was going to ask him if he had any.
Seems very resourceful.
Now, December 19th, Alicia Spacek, his long-suffering girlfriend who's been beat up 3 times and burned with an iron and everything else.
That's fucking nuts.
Well, it gets worse for her. Right. She's killed in a traffic accident.
Oh, my God.
On the LBJ freeway.
Jesus.
Killed on the side of the road after she flipped her BMW.
Fuck.
The driver of a Ford Explorer didn't see her and 2 other people trying to help her and ended up then striking all 3 of them as this happened. So then the people helping her also got killed. Now, Spacek was on the phone with Roy when this happened.
Yeah.
Tarpley told them that he thought the line just went dead. He thought he just lost her, rather than her being hit by a car and killed.
He had no idea.
No clue until after it happened.
Holy
here.
Shit.
January 1998, he is living in Dallas. He's living in an apartment owned by Mark Aguirre.
Oh, boy.
So he's down on his luck. Dead girlfriend no girlfriend to beat up anymore.
Right.
So he says that they're trying to get Tarpley help. They're trying to keep his name out of the papers. They're basically saying here Aguirre got an attorney to take on Tarpley's case if Tarpley agreed to go to rehab, which he said he would demand before Tarpley took the case, so we'd know he was serious. 1998, he goes back to Greece and plays again for Apollon Limassol.
Great.
This is their full team name is Pizza Express Primatel Apollon.
Oh, my God.
So it's like the Filipino teams we talked about with Billy Ray Bates or some shit now. Now, April 28th, 1998, an arrest warrant's issued for him because he didn't show up for the trial for the November domestic violence incident, the one that actually got charged here.
Right.
Sergeant Darrell Watson said court records indicated a warrant had been prepared for Tarpley, whose whereabouts are unknown. His attorney had been trying to locate him for a week. When your attorney can't get a hold of you, that's not great. Even like on The Wire, when the kids disappeared and they shot Kima, Levy knew how to get a hold of him, is what I'm saying. They knew that shit, and they were like, you get a hold of that guy for us, and we got to make a deal with him. So that's how it happens here. He ends up being fined and sentenced to 2 years probation after pleading guilty to the assault charge. So that's it there. So now keep in mind he's on probation. That's a problem, okay? 1999, he plays for Apollon again. Also 99, he plays for Esperos, some other Greek team.
That?
Doesn't matter. Moving on. Fuck Esperos. June of 2000, there's a problem here. The whole thing with his girlfriend being killed on the side of the road, that's coming back on him. There's a case brought against him by the estate of Kimbra Rayshon Royal, who was the Good Samaritan who was killed trying to help his girlfriend. He owned the BMW, by the way, which makes him responsible for a lot of this, apparently.
Oh, shit.
Apparently, this woman went to help Spacek, who was behind the wheel of the car that Tarpley owned.
Yep.
Spacek and Royal were standing on the side of the road by Tarpley's car. So this woman flipped the BMW, survived, got out, was like, whew, that was rough, and then got hit by a car.
Jesus Christ.
After she'd been burned by an iron. Talk about a fucking rough year this lady had here.
Fuck.
Then another car hit them and hit the car, and it rolled over, and so both women died from the impact. Now, this woman's mother, the Good Samaritan, brought the case against Tarpley while he was playing overseas, arguing that he negligently let Spacek use his car despite her record of driving while intoxicated and other violations.
Oh, boy.
Which doesn't make sense because I don't know. It's weird. Anyway, he wasn't present when the accident occurred, and he didn't present a defense for this litigation because they didn't even know if he knew about it because he's in Greece. And then the process servers don't really get over to Greece very well. They don't travel
it's very
too well.
rare.
So in June of 2000, a Denton County judge awarded 2 judgments against him, one on behalf of Georgia Royal and one for her daughter's estate. According to court records, the judgments were worth about $4.2 million.
Holy shit.
Including $750,000 in punitive damages.
God, I want that money.
So that's his thing. Not like, wow, that's tough.
That's
God, I want that money. Me too. So they even said that they didn't think that Tarpley was ever even served with this, so he couldn't even present a defense, which is kind of shitty, I guess, here. 2000-2001, he plays for the Beijing Olympians.
Oh, boy.
Which sounds great right there. That's who you want to play for. Beijing Olympians were officially disbanded in 2013, so there's another defunct team for you.
That's so crazy.
February 21st, 2003, Roy Tarpley is now jailed for violating his probation by playing overseas.
It's about time.
Because he is on probation, yet he went out of the country country when he wasn't allowed to leave the state. Not great here. He was fined and sentenced to 2 years of probation, like we said before. He turned himself in to deputies. He wasn't allowed to leave the state of Texas. He had asked for permission to travel to Europe to continue playing basketball, but the probation officers rejected his request, and he just went anyway. He just said, okay, thanks, and then got on a plane and left.
I'd like to go.
Fucking idiot.
No. Okay, I'm going anyway.
Okay, I'm going anyway. He played in Greece, China, Russia, and a bunch of other countries while he was doing that. For this little excursion around the world here, he could be sentenced up to a year in jail for this.
Well, yeah.
So here he is in court on February 17, 2003, and it's not even much of a court because it's not like a trial, because he violated his probation. That's just sentencing, and they tell him, you, sir, may fuck off. They actually send him to jail. He accepts a 90-day sentence, and he gets credit for time served, and he ends up serving 33 days in jail.
Jesus.
So how's that for fuck off?
Wow.
Not much of a fuck off. This was for violating probation for an assault. So for burning a woman with an iron, he ends up, in the end, getting 33 days in jail for 3 assaults.
I can't imagine.
I'm calling that 11 days per horrible assault, which doesn't seem like enough. Doesn't seem like enough.
No, that seems a bit of that's a bargain. A bargain.
That is a bargain. So he's there. He's not allowed to leave. And so, Jesus Christ, that poor woman, she had the worst year. She got beaten up by him 3 times and then had a horrible car accident, survived it, stood there like, how'd that happen? And then was hit by a car and died.
Ridiculous.
Fucking incredible.
The luck.
Imagine the Mavericks, how many chances they gave him. His mom, everything. He's ruining his father, Roy Sr.'s name. I feel bad. For all these people, Jimmy, all these people, but not nearly as bad as I feel for Roy Tarpley.
Yeah.
Just professional. That's all.
That's it.
Roy Tarpley, professional.
He's a professional.
He's embarrassed people so much they don't even want to say where they live.
That's awesome.
Roy Tarpley, a heavy equipment operator from Amarillo, Texas.
Yeah.
So look out for him. Roy W. Tarpley, just a guy from, quote, from the panhandle of Texas. That's all it says about him.
That's a bad thing,
That's it. So Roy Tarpley from the panhandle. I feel bad for you, homie. Jesus Christ. So July 3rd, 2003, Tarpley's out of jail. He's training for a return, he says, to the NBA. He says he's going to get back in the NBA.
Really?
He hasn't played in 8 years, by the way. And he says he's going to get back in there. He's going to apply for reinstatement. He's going to do it. He's been having some financial problems that have been building for years. What he ends up doing is he's released after serving 33 days in jail, and he files for personal bankruptcy.
Of course.
Which makes sense.
He's got no goddamn money.
No, and 2 judgments against him totaled about $8.5 million, because those 2 were 4.2 each, from the death of that woman who tried to help his girlfriend.
Good.
So $8.5 million there. He listed total assets of $1,000. What is that? Like 8 pairs of, like, what is it? Some shoes? I have some leftover Nikes that I have for my blade.
It's a walk-in.
No, 1,000. 1,000.
That's what I meant. $1,000.
It's not a lot.
That's
for
nothing.
Assets.
For assets, I can't. I've got $1,000 in fucking
stuff.
Easily.
Stuff. I would hope so. Most people.
I own a dirt bike.
Most people have $1,000 worth of stuff.
I own a dirt bike. I definitely have $1,000 worth of stuff.
That so fucking.
I'm so proud of myself.
You said that
so proud. I've got more than this man.
That's the proudest any adult man has ever proclaimed. Quote, I have a dirt bike.
I am important, for I have a dirt bike.
I have a dirt bike. When everyone else can't go off the trail, I can, damn it. I'll go right over that hill and no one will stop me. He says that in the $1,000 consisting mostly of clothes, a watch, and some chains, he says.
I thought he was going to say some change.
Some change. I got a handful of change and Chad Curtis's noodles. That's what he's basically doing. So you know where he could have paid that off if he would have, I don't know, got that $25.8 million contract. That might have helped here.
It's so much money.
His bankruptcy attorney here, this is amazing. His bankruptcy attorney, he has no income except for people in his things here. In the creditors meeting, he said he's been unemployed for 4 years.
Ouch.
And he's staying with an unnamed friend in Arlington. Tarpley indicated this person had fed and otherwise provided for him as he didn't have any income. His bankruptcy attorney said that Tarpley has, quote, a wonderful girlfriend who has been providing him with a $10,000 weekly allowance.
What does she do?
To, quote, take care of his situation.
My Christ.
I would call her a wonderful girlfriend.
Yeah.
That's the perfect way to put that.
Or a silver-haired middle-aged middle-aged white woman.
Yes, exactly. Which she probably is. She's probably like 70 years old. I'm like, here you go, sweetheart. Like, giving him like she's a rich woman. Also, too, he says the family helps him out. The lawyer says that, quote, her family cares for him deeply. Yeah. So he found some woman with a rich family that's going to give him a shitload of money.
Ridiculous.
He has about $9,000 in credit card bills, $36,348 in federal tax liabilities, and California state tax bill of $13,324 from 1995.
Wow.
He's got problem. Yeah. His divorce is what wiped him out, too.
Of course.
His ex-wife took most of his money, which she deserved because he was screwing everything that moved and then beating these women up, too, on top of it and embarrassing the fuck out of her. At this point, his lawyer says that Tarpley is staying in Houston with John Lucas, the coach, the owner of the Miami Tropics back then, who runs a substance abuse program there. Tarpley has successfully completed another 35-day substance abuse program, and his lawyer says he's remained drug and alcohol free. He says he still wants to play in the NBA. Obviously. He says, quote, I feel like I have unfinished business there, to collect money to get out of debt.
That's generally unfinished business.
Right. He says, quote, if I can get another opportunity to play in the league, I'm going to hold on for dear life. I miss it so much and I took it for granted before. I will never do that again. But when they asked him in the creditors meeting whether he might play ball again, he said he was considering, quote, just coaching right now, I think.
Okay.
Because he's, fucking 40.
And broke.
Right. So it doesn't work like that. 2003, the NBA denies his application for reinstatement, even though he's passed several drug tests over the last 4 years.
Okay.
Now, this is important because the EEOC, the equal opportunity people here, they review the NBA's exercise of discretion in this matter and found that the NBA discriminated against Tarpley and violated the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Oh, my God.
When it refused to reinstate him in 2003.
Is he getting free money?
Specifically, the EEOC found that Tarpley provided NBA with adequate evidence establishing that he was qualified to play in the league, no longer abused alcohol, no longer used drugs. He files the lawsuit claiming that the discrimination against him was by refusing reinstatement on the basis of his disability as a recovering alcoholic and drug abuser. So that's going to go on in court for a while. That's just he files that, and they haven't sued yet, but they file that to get it going. 2003, 2004, he joins the Sioux Falls Skyforce of the CBA, as we know, just a top-notch team there. They are currently an NBA G League team, not D League, G League. Also on this team at the time, the Sioux Falls Skyforce, Cedric Sabalas playing for that team.
Yeah.
The long-retired Cedric Sabalas here.
He's almost dead, too, by the way. He's had a heart attack.
Yeah.
He's in bad shape.
He is. Cedric Sabalas is in bad shape. We like Cedric Sabalas here at Crime and Sports. Good for you, Ced.
Good dude.
Not dying yet.
Yeah.
Now, team goes 23 and 25 that he plays for.
That's not good.
March 24th, 2005, he appears, Tarpley goes to a Mavericks game as a fan and just hangs out in the stands.
Really?
And of course they talk to him, the press, and he says, quote, I've got some big news happening soon. It ain't over yet. Which I think it's over, Roy. Let's just say it's over.
Hang him up.
Yeah. He says there are teams that are actually interested in him.
Get out of here.
Teams are making phone calls around to see if he's hanging out with old people that he knows and all that. Insane, right? Yeah. Why do you want him? He's 40 years old.
Right.
It makes no sense. 40-year-old big men usually aren't the good things you want.
No, they last to 33.
Yeah, you're that big. Your knees, your hips, your ankles, your feet.
Hurts.
It doesn't go well. Yeah,
right.
Watch Shaq walk. He doesn't look like it feels good.
It's not good.
Not good. 2005, he signs with Dodge City Legend. That's the team he signs with of the USBL again.
Fuck.
Jesus Christ. They're located in Dodge City, Kansas, which I thought was a ghost town. They have a team.
Say it again?
They're located in Dodge City, Kansas.
Dodge City,
it's a ghost town, right?
Yeah. I thought that was that's where Wyatt Earp was the fucking...
That's some Old West shit. Apparently they have a baseball team or basketball team here.
Ridiculous.
They won 3 USBL titles here, including in 2005 when Tarpley plays there.
It still exists for real.
Yeah, well,
they've got buildings
now,
and shit.
Not now, but then the legend apparently drew their fans from surrounding towns like Garden City and Liberal, which is an odd name for a town in Kansas.
Yeah.
Anyway, Oliver Miller once played for this team.
Oh, that guy.
So there's a fuck up who's played for all of these teams. So he wins the championship.
That's so sad that guy.
Isn't that sad?
What a heartbreaking moment. His whole life
just
sucks.
Kept getting fatter and fatter, and
his
worse
whole
and
life
worse
sucks.
Off. I know, man. I feel bad for that guy, kind of. Now, kind of. Yeah, and then he also just a complete fuck up.
He also had the chance to
away a lot of
live
money.
just fine.
Yeah, like I said, I'd be living fine with the money he made.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, of course, I don't make that money to know how I would live. Maybe I'd be a fucking disaster.
I would have no idea.
I don't know.
I'd love to find out.
Yeah, let's find out. So July, we won't.
No.
July 2006, Roy sues the NBA officially.
Really?
The EEOC is backing him up on this.
Okay.
While that's going on, he goes and plays for the Michigan Mayhem of the CBA. Again, they previously played in Grand Rapids, where they were known as the Grand Rapids Hoops and the Grand Rapids Mackers. Citing a lack of community support, the team announced in 2006 that it would not return. So that's another defunct team.
The people of Grand Rapids has had enough.
They have had enough.
They don't want their own basketball team?
Nope. Now, a reporter, a guy named Terry Foster, encounters Roy, and he said he met him here. He meets him at his apartment to do a story on him while he's playing for this team for Michigan. And he says, Roy tells this guy that his goal was to show NBA teams he could play and hope to be reinstated. During the reporter's visit there, a cable installer came by, and they said he had no furniture in his apartment. It was kind of a sad apartment. And Tarpley's credit was so bad that the cable guy said that Tarpley had to pay $20 in cash to get the service started. God. Tarpley didn't have $20 in cash.
Oh, no service.
And he said, sorry, I don't have the $20 in cash. So the reporter gave the guy $20.
That was nice.
And Tarpley said, thanks, I appreciate it, and was like, whatever. But he was so bad he couldn't get his cable turned on because he didn't have $20, which is crazy.
That's depressing.
May 17th, 2007, the EEOC rules that the NBA violated the American Disabilities Act when it refused to reinstate Tarpley. On September 26th, 2007, Tarpley filed a lawsuit against the NBA and the Mavericks in United States District Court. In the suit, Tarpley claims the NBA discriminated against him again when they refused to reinstate him because he was a recovering drug addict and an alcoholic. Also in the lawsuit, the NBA, he tells about the NBA dismissing him in 1995 for testing positive for alcohol.
Yeah.
His blood alcohol level was 0.003%.
Okay.
Which is super low, but still you can't do that.
Right.
Yeah, it's still, you can't have that in your system. That's like if he waited another half hour, he wouldn't have come up. So
probably would have just had to pee once.
Yeah, he would have had to pee once here. So what ends up happening is he's suing for money. He sought, in the original lawsuit with the EEOC complaint, he sought at least $6.5 million.
Oh my God.
So we'll see what happens here. On August 1st, the EEOC officially sides with him. In August of 2008, the court seals the case for discovery and makes it no more publicly available documents to come up because in January of 2009, the case settles for undisclosed terms.
I wonder how much he got.
They sealed everything
it's over
once before. The NBA is not letting this out.
Yeah.
And all these articles were like, that's 100% from the NBA.
Yeah.
The NBA wanted none of this shit out. They didn't want anybody thinking that because you were a drug addict and you got kicked out of the league,
can win.
that you can sue them and win however much. Because if someone heard he got $6 million, there will be more lawsuits tomorrow.
So many druggies.
Yeah,
so many rockheads.
For right or wrong, who knows? But, whatever.
Frivolous or otherwise, they're still filing them.
Exactly, man. So
just on the off chance that they'll fucking win.
Yeah. So the funny thing is, he settles in January of 2009, and then he goes quiet.
Yeah.
Radio fucking silence from this guy. Doesn't show up in Mavs games. Doesn't beat up any women. Doesn't get any DUIs. Doesn't wrap any Mercedes around poles.
Sure.
Chills the fuck out. You don't hear a word from him for 6 years.
6 years.
6 years goes by. We just covered from 1981 to 2009. How much time did we skip ever? 6 months at the most?
Yeah.
We went through this whole thing. There's always something happening except for now. Finally, now he disappears. No one knows what happens to him. Where's Roy Tarpley? What's he doing? Is he okay? January 10th, 2015, he dies. Dead. Fucking dead at age 50.
How?
Absolutely dead. The medical examiner didn't list a cause of death at first, but in the end, his family and other people said it was his liver.
Okay.
He had liver failure.
Yeah.
Probably from fucking drinking.
Drugs. Yeah.
So
drugs and drinking will ruin your fucking liver.
Yeah.
That's the one that regenerates, and drinking will kill it.
So
this guy, stop that.
Yep. He died at Texas Health Arlington Memorial Hospital.
Oh, damn.
it's one of those things. He got that money. He disappeared. He probably went back to his house
and just went and
drank himself like crazy into oblivion.
Wow.
He didn't think about it. If he's not playing basketball and doesn't have to pass any tests, as long as he doesn't get DUIs, no one's going to know what he's doing. He's going to just go disappear. So he does. Post-death here, after his death, the Dallas Mavericks organization released a statement saying they're deeply saddened upon hearing of the death of their former Sixth Man of the Year, Roy Tarpley. He said, our deepest condolences go out to his family. Mavs fans everywhere will remember him fondly. Brad Davis, the Mavericks radio analyst, said, quote, if Roy had stayed healthy, he could have been one of the top 50 players ever. He could do it all. Shoot, score, rebound, pass, and defend. We're all sorry to hear of his passing and rebounding and shooting and defending.
That's awfully optimistic of him.
He was a great player. The top 50 is that's a little extreme, but I mean, he would have been an all-star, right? A good player. Mark Aguirre said, quote, he was one of the kindest people you ever wanted to meet. We had no issues, none at all, no problems. He was just a big practical joker. He was full of love and joy. Let me put it this way. He didn't have an evil spirit in his heart. He had a great big heart. I know he did a lot of things wrong and he had some difficult issues, but he was a kind-hearted person. There are a lot of people who took advantage of his kindness, like that poor girl who was lying down screaming and crying and being burned with an iron. He said, quit taking advantage of my kindness. I tried to steal your money and now I'm burning you because I'm so fucking kind.
I'm such a nice guy.
So if you're sad about Roy Tarpley right now, just remember
there's victims.
Burned a woman with an iron. A 23-year-old woman with a fucking iron, man. So can't get enough of Roy Tarpley's insanity. On eBay, you can get a poster, NBA basketball, Roy Tarpley, Dallas Mavericks with his goggles and everything.
Amazing.
Free shipping here, $8.97 with free shipping.
That's a great deal.
That's not bad. That sounds, it's a pretty cool poster too. Amazon.com, 1991 Upper Deck basketball card. It's near mint, $1. $3.49 shipping though. Come on now. And now here's another thing. He's on Celebrity Net Worth. First of all,
are you.
I'm getting to that. When you look up, I wonder how much money that guy has, people do. Don't look it up and go, oh, he's got $40 million. They don't know shit.
No.
They say on Celebrity Net Worth that he has $2 million, which he might have from the settlement or whatever, but I still don't believe it because he was bankrupt at one point and still owed a shitload of money, and also he's dead.
And for 6 years, he didn't work, and all he did was spend.
And I know that that's bullshit because I was on Celebrity Net Worth. This is how bullshit it is. A, I'm not a celebrity, so that's number one. B, they had a video on it of Jimmy doing stand-up on my page, and it said I had $150,000, which I most certainly don't fucking have. I absolutely do not have $150,000 of anything. I owe money for things, and I have none of my own.
I have a dirt bike. Jimmy's
got
net
a
worth.
dirt bike.
I got a dirt bike.
That would have been great. That
ends it.
Yeah, where was your page with just dirt bike under it? Just a picture of a dirt bike with you standing next to it with your thumb up.
I got a Honda.
That would have been amazing. And finally, there's a profile for him, even though he's dead, on dangerdating.com, basically warning women not to fuck him.
That's
see
awesome.
This guy, don't fuck him.
Get away from him.
It has his address, his stats, his arrests. It says he beats up women, and he's been beating up women for a long time. We need more of that.
That shit is incredible.
Women, that's good that's awesome.
Keep that going.
Yeah, keep that shit going. Do that. And that, my friends, is Roy Tarpley.
Wow.
Holy shit, what a goddamn disaster that guy was. What a fucking tale, man.
Ridiculous.
That's a crazy tale. Cocaine, chances, alcohol, booze, beatings. It's a mess.
Not just that, he just fucking weaseled his way into being able to take care of himself.
And then in the end, he ended up being able to take care of himself, going, for once, the cocaine can work for me and not against me here. This is great.
Unbelievable.
So that's Roy Tarpley. If you liked that story, everybody, please get on iTunes and give us 5 stars if you would. It doesn't matter what you say. Tell us you're following instructions, following directions. Honestly, it doesn't matter. If that's not enough for you and you're a fantastic, superstar, amazing human being like this list of people that Jimmy has in front of him right now, my goodness, these people are our hearts. They really make it so we can do things and talk shit and be We can be freewheeling and we can be ourselves, and we don't have to worry about things because we don't really care if advertisers like us as much as we care if you guys like us, because that's because
you matter.
You matter to us, honestly, and you guys matter financially. You guys, everything we have off of this, we have from you guys. So thank you guys so much. If you want to make a donation, you can go to patreon.com/crimeinsports, or you can do it over at PayPal using our email address, crimeinsports@gmail.com. If you want to get a hold of the show, you can do that on Instagram and Twitter at crimeinsports, crimeinsports@gmail.com, or facebook.com/ what do you think it is? Crime in Sports. You got it, Jimmy. Now, that said, why don't you hit us with that list of the best people in the world? Hit us with it, Jimmy.
Truly, we can't do this without each and every one of you guys. Thank you guys so much. People like Megan Smith, who donated twice this week. Thank you so much,
amazing.
Megan. The executive producers this week happen to be Chrissy Ann Costaldi, Megan Schmelzenbach. I think that's it.
That's a good one. That was amazing. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Wow. Thank you.
Like, we don't talk about what the dollar figures are, but the money that she gave was a lot. It was so helpful.
Thank you. That really,
so sweet.
That was
an unbelievably generous thing to do. So thank you so much.
We
Megan.
actually called each other over that. Can you believe that? That's amazing. Oh my God, what a nice person.
Do we deserve that?
Thank you so much.
And then Don Holloway's as well. Fucking
incredible.
Insane.
God damn it.
Thank you so
Seriously,
much,
guys.
Sarah Gilbo continues every week to send something incredibly generous.
You guys make it so we have a studio to improve the sound on. This is what I mean.
Yeah, we've got shit to do here because of you guys.
But we have really cool equipment and we'll make it happen.
That's true. Laura Odom, Sarah Carter, Alice King, Jeanette Holm, Marissa Wells, Brian Dennehy.
Brian Dennehy gave us money.
Brian Dennehy gave
Thanks,
us
Brian Dennehy.
The color chick, I imagine she makes. I imagine she does people's hair. Right? That's got to be
color.
Right?
Yeah, that seems right. Who knows, though? Maybe she
Google her and pay that girl some money.
Give her cash.
Brianna Krantz donated both ways, through PayPal and through Patreon. Jeremy Sturk, I think that's right. Kapow Designs, Cat Power, thank you so much.
Yes.
Linda Bone, Marcus Redwine, yes. David Houghton, damn it. Houghton, Hou. Shit. Dan Rogers has been fantastic for the past few weeks.
Yeah, man. Thanks,
and so
Dan.
involved.
Thanks for
thank
everything.
you, Dan. Kimberly Huggins, Melissa Schmaltz, Betty Bice, thank you so much. Alex Marchi, Elizabeth Heitbrink, I think that's right. Jake Lebeer, Jacqueline Hall, she's terrific on Snapchat too. Thank you, Jacqueline. John Rita, Megan Smith. I mentioned her already. Thank you, Megan. You're fantastic. Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Eric Mauger, Michael Carfunkel. Yeah. And Michael Kennedy, too. I know a Mike Kennedy, and
he wouldn't give us money.
Never. And that's fine, too, because I wouldn't want a dime from
his
that
money.
fuck.
But this Mike Kennedy, thank you.
He needs that money. Yeah. This Mike Kennedy is fantastic. Thank you. Timothy Young, David Grimes, Shannon Feltis. Oh, yeah, Shannon Feltis. Yeah, she did.
Yeah,
thank you, Shannon. Jesse Hartman. God damn it. Elizabeth Britton. Brittin. So you sound like an asshole trying to pronounce Britain.
Yeah, maybe it's Brighton.
It could be.
I don't think so. It's probably Britain.
Yeah. Laura Hampson, Carol Braun, Michelle Duff McCracken. That's a tough one.
Duff McCracken.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Michelle. That was very nice of you.
Bass player for Guns N' Roses or something that quit?
I think
Duff
you're...
McKagan.
All right. Yeah.
Sorry about
that.
There
you go. Ellery Hirsch. That's it. Samuel Wetmore. Leslie Rout. Yes. Henry Lockwood. That's it.
Did you get Carrie out of Henry?
Yeah, because I thought I saw two R's. That's all. Sorry, Henry. Rebecca Porch. Yes. Matt Williams, I hope it's the third baseman. He was fantastic.
He'd be great.
Thank you, Matt. Jaybird Wedbetter, of course.
And, we love you, Wedbetter.
And Nitch. James Cook is fantastic. Thanks for everything, James. Anthony Duggan. Craig Riley. Tyler Griffin. Colton Rogers. Jesus. Jordan Knapp. Ben Armstrong. Brittany Brightung. That's a brutal last name. That's what that is. Jennifer Lamb, Ellery Gomez. No, Eleni Gomez. Alani?
How do you spell it, Jimmy?
Ellony?
Eleni. Yeah, that's fine.
Fuck, I don't know. Natalie, shit. This one is ridiculous. Zinoviec. No,
Zinoviev.
I got it. Zinoviev. That's for sure. That's absolutely it. That's a Russian name.
I love when you're positive.
I'm positive.
I love when you're positive.
Patel Huang, Hwang, H-W-A-N-G. Angela Ford.
Patel Huang? Is that an Indian and a Chinese name mixed together?
I think so.
That's very strange. Sir, please tell her.
That's a ma'am.
Please tell us what the hell, how that works exactly.
I'm not sure.
Where'd you get that? Where'd you get the most Indian first name and the most Chinese last name? Help us out with that.
Kensworth Slater he's up in Minnesota. That guy's fucking awesome. He drove all the way to Detroit to see us.
That was cool. Thank you, dude.
No, Chicago. That was it. He came to Chicago.
The first show.
Right. Kelly Walsh, Chris England, Emily Downing, John Houlihan, Tiffany Goes. No. Goss. Tiffany Goss. Thank you, Tiffany. Buddy Kucha. Strictly Homicide Podcast. Shelby Bessie. Normal. No, not normal. What is that? Mommal? Mama Al Davis.
Mama
that's right. Al Davis. Yeah. That's who it is. Elizabeth. Brittany Duran. Denny Green. No, it's not
That's not the coach.
Green. No,
I don't think any professional third baseman or NFL head coaches are giving us money.
Fingers crossed, though. Josephine Lethman, thank you, Josephine. Tom Keoff. Fuck. Stuart Helwell, Jack Galloway, Eric Clapholes. That's true. That's the right one.
That's the one.
Wicked Counselor. I don't know what that is. I imagine that's to help people wean off of ICP.
Is that porn?
The Wicked Counselor? I don't know.
I don't know what that is.
Wean you off porn? I'm not sure.
I think that's what they'll do. Counsel you off porn.
I hope so. Jessica Moncada, Rebecca Manners, Chris Henson. Ooh, that's close.
God, him too. This is great.
And the fucking, this one is so hard to say, but I am Jimmy Wisman and I love Tom Brady donated. Whoever the fuck that is.
I saw somebody's going to
You're
do
an
that.
asshole.
Thank
Michelle,
you. Asshole.
Thank you so much. You fucking.
You can make Jimmy say anything
clever
you want.
Dick. You can make me say a lot of horrible things, especially that. Michelle Gerber Anderson, Anna Kowalewski, that's for sure. Matthew Solomon. Last ones, Johan Eriksson. This is where it's going to get tricky because somebody really likes to fuck with me with Hilder Cigarette. Shit.
What was that?
Cigardarduder.
You got cigarette out of that?
I don't know what I just did with that.
Your brain recognized the first half of the word.
Did an
autofill on that one?
Cigar or ditter? Fucking no way.
They know what their name is.
Tia Alswin, thank you so much. Congratulations on your new job. Catherine Burgess, Thomas Gallagher, Brandy Dwyer, Dunkel. Brandy Dunkel. Fuck, I'm an idiot. Ronald Pleven.
I don't know what I'm doing.
I don't know what I'm doing. Michael Deegan, Sydney Cruz, Marianne Mayer, Melissa Figueroa, Sarah Keel, Lindsay Lacara. Lindsay Lacara. John.
That sounds good.
No, Joe Yaw, Riley Mortensen. No, Riley Montbleu. That's what it is. Not Mortensen.
No. Those aren't close either.
Not even close.
No.
I don't know what I'm doing.
You're just making names up.
Chris with no last name. Gunlauger, Gunny Porson. That's for real.
Okay.
That's what it says.
Hey, we'll take it.
Gunlauger, Gun Porson.
Cool.
Jennifer Diedrich. That's for sure. Rachel Bridge, Andrew Birmingham, Susanna Platt, Armando Rodriguez, CJW, Daryl Lerman, Megan Perry, and the last one is Kevin Talkington. How easy is that?
That's not bad at all. You closed strong.
Knocked it out. You guys, thank you so much for all your help. Thank you for getting us to studio.
Yeah,
thank you for making this work. So much. And we're going to make it work much better.
Yeah, it's going to be much better.
Thank you guys.
Promise by next week we'll have more of the sound shit ironed out. We're going to put a lot of work into this thing, and we're going to make it right for you guys.
I can't wait
to say thank you for you guys. Now we can say this. By the way, before we get out of here, Jimmy, what if a guy like you needed to be got a hold of by people like them. How could they do that?
If you want to tell me how much of a piece of shit I am, you can find me at Wisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. I appreciate you guys.
And I'm at Jimmy P is Funny. You can get me there, or just copy and paste my last name from the show description in case you want to do Facebook or whatever, because there's an I in there and you'll fuck it up.
It's a weird one.
Yeah, this is a weird one. And honestly, guys, thank you guys, because you've put us back in the actual Crime and Sports studios.
You have.
So now we can say live from the Crime and Sports studios. We will see you next week.
Bye.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
a big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud,
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.